Do you believe in ghosts?
Ooh.
Okay, well, that's it.
Oh, we're recording? Was that it?
Trexploration.
Hello, and welcome back to Trexploration. I'm Albie.
And I'm Chris. I'm a little distracted.
I'm John. I'm distracted by Chris.
And we got Jessie with us. Jessie Gender, Jessie Earl. How you doing, Jessie?
I'm
Welcome
doing
back.
really good. I'm finally
I'm so excited to have you.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I know we didn't get a chance to talk during Starfleet Academy, but I loved listening to your podcast, so it was really lovely to hear y'all. And I'm glad I can get to be here for Strange New Worlds.
Yes, hopefully season 2 of Starfleet Academy we can connect and join. But we're talking about Strange New Worlds season 4, episode 2, the spooky one. It's the Griffin Incident. It's a ghost story.
Having a lot of fun. I think there's a poltergeist in my room here. The reason I'm distracted is I'm looking. Usually I have my Delta on. I cannot find my Starfleet Delta. I wonder if somebody took it.
I lost 2 of mine.
Is it that person that's standing right behind you, Chris?
Sometimes if you tap them twice, they just beam away. So
yeah, that's true.
You're not going to believe this. I was watching the episode again, and I had my earbuds in, sitting right here where I'm sitting right now, doing my notes and taking the show synopsis and stuff. And it was at a point where spoilers, right? Everybody's seen this, but it's at the point literally where the hand comes up on on her shoulder, on shoulder, and I swear to God, I glanced back. Laura's like right here, and it scared the crap out of me because I didn't hear her come in. I was like, "What are you doing?" She said, "I called you twice. You didn't answer." But
ghosts, they just can't. They stop you from hearing each other. Yeah.
So this episode was creepy AF.
Yes.
At least you did turn around, unlike Lon.
Yeah. She's just like Spock with your ghost zombie hand.
Right, with your ice cold zombie hand, Spock.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
A lot of good stuff in this episode. We're talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 4, Episode 2, The Griffin Incident. Stardate 2903.9. Original air date July 30th, 2026. That's today! Hey! Written by Robbie Thompson and directed by Axel Carolyn.
Mm-hmm.
Axel Carolyn.
Did I get it right?
Carolyn. I looked her up because I was very curious about this episode. She worked on The Haunting of Bly Manor, which makes so much sense for this episode, considering all the Easter egg. If you remember when the Bly Manor and Haunting of Hill House came out, that was an episode. Those shows had all those really little Easter egg ghosties that everyone tried to find. This episode has very similar vibes. So I was like, okay. Makes perfect sense.
I have not seen those. I'm adding those to my list, though.
They're really good.
Enjoyed this episode.
Really good.
Yeah, very, both very, very good. Also, Robbie Thompson wrote for Supernatural and The Cape, of all things. Did anyone remember The Cape?
6 seasons of the movie.
6 seasons of the movie.
I love how we talk about The Cape and we reference another series.
Yeah. Did anyone actually watch The Cape? I feel like it's more known for Community.
I watched the first. I don't know if the first season, probably the first 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Before I was like, this is not great.
Listen, I love Keith David beyond all reason, but even I have my limits, So, but The Cape, it was kind of goofy. It was kind of fun. But Robbie Thompson wrote for Supernatural. I love Supernatural, so I want to see what Robbie wrote on Supernatural because he's been on the staff since season 1, or at least last season. I remember his name from last year. So, and he writes some of my favorite episodes. So it stands to reason, since I'm such a huge SPN fan, that I would like his SNW work.
Yeah,
makes sense.
But yeah, I just looked them up specifically for this episode. That's why I know them, because I was like, this seems like so specifically directed in a new way, and I was so curious to see who did it. So I was like, yeah, I needed to know.
So that's
very
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any word, Chris?
Any word on
Robbie Thompson?
I'm looking right now. He joined Supernatural in season 7, and he was promoted to co-executive producer in season 10. He wrote the 200th episode fan fiction, which includes lyrics for the songs. So that was when they I guess it was the Wayward Daughters singing a musical. It was like a high school musical about Sam and Dean.
I might watch that episode.
That was a good one.
I stopped Supernatural after the Leviathan season. I was like, all right.
That's when I stopped too, because the Leviathan season's kind of like
Yeah,
but go keep with it, Jessie.
I do need to pick it back up. It was one of those shows that I was like, I keep wanting to go back to it, but it's just been so long. So I'm like, maybe I should just start at the beginning. I remember loving the first 5-6 seasons. So.
And he wrote the first episode that had Charlie, which is why am I blanking on her name? She's
with Felicia Day.
Felicia Day, the girl with the Dungeons and Dragons tattoo.
Yeah, that was
bringing the guild back.
Actually, he wrote a couple of the Felicia Day episodes, so that's pretty cool. Yeah.
She's in Supernatural. See, you got to do better at selling Supernatural to me, Chris.
Yeah, I've tried just because there are men in it.
I would have been there. I love Dr. Horrible.
You watch 3 episodes and you say there aren't enough chicks. That's your problem. That's an Albie problem, not a Supernatural problem.
Look, the Impala is a gorgeous lady. All right, it's definitely she's in every episode.
Oh my God! Speaking of the Impala, Robbie wrote the episode "Baby," which is basically told from the point of view of the Impala, which was an interesting episode.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it.
It's a good. Supernatural is a fun show. Like it definitely
Robbie,
has.
Come on. I'll talk to you about Star Trek a little bit, but then we're gonna talk about Supernatural for hours on end.
It's just so much of it is daunting.
It's a very daunting show.
So many episodes, so many seasons. It's like One Piece. Like you got to watch One Piece. I can't. It's like
it's a big commitment,
episodes.
Right?
It's a commitment.
My partner watched all of One Piece.
I don't want to have to begrudgingly.
Wow. That's impressive.
Watch the whole thing. Okay, Chris.
Yeah.
Before we start talking about the Griffin incident, could you give us one of your amazing episode recaps?
Sure. This one is spooky. As you said, we open on an empty star field. A lone beacon sounds in the void, as does the personal log of James Kirk. Kirk is hitching a ride home with La'an and Spock, fresh from the future Federation leaders' retreat. They are aboard Shuttle 13, which isn't ominous at all. Kirk expresses uncharacteristic unease at the situation. The beacon, broadcast over an old Federation frequency, has led them to an uncharted region of space where they discover the long-lost USS Griffin, which disappeared 9 years ago. Naturally, they investigate because risk is our business. Still, Kirk and La'an have time for a heart-to-heart about how Kirk ditched his scheduled visit with David for the conference. And speaking of David, they beam aboard the Griffin where Kirk hears a baby crying in the distance. No one else does, though, so let's not talk about it. Spock also says he sent a long-range transmission to the Enterprise to let them know what's happening, and I have to mention that here because it becomes important later. The derelict Griffin somehow has an hour of power for the trio to investigate. There are no signs of anything wrong. Spock says this looks like a job for Division 12, kind of like Starfleet's X-Files Ghost Facers, speaking of Supernatural, which La'an poo-poos. As if to say, oh yeah? They spot a lone crew person walking ahead. She's all creepy and mottled and looks like she just crawled out of the TV and says she has been waiting for them just before disappearing. Cue the credits. Do, 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 do. Spock says there are no life signs present, but there are traces of negatively charged ions, to which Kirk replies, you mean a ghost? They trace the ions back to their point of origin, which is a barricaded sickbay, the doors of which are festooned with phaser blasts that are Federation, Vulcan, and Klingon. Spock is like, never mind about the Klingons or the Klingon War or my sister who we can't talk about. We need to focus on the ghost. Jim doesn't register this, as he's too busy hearing that crying baby. Spock pries the doors open, and they find a sickbay filled with empty body bags. Spock decides to find out what he can from the medical transporter logs, while La'an and Jim go up to the bridge to find out what they can about the survivor. And they obviously don't play D&D in the 23rd century because you never split the party.
Ever.
La'an takes more time to grill Kirk about Carol and his relationship with David. Kirk says he and Carol are basically on the outs. Kirk wonders how Sam balances his fleet career and his family. La'an says that Starfleet is her family. Back in sickbay, Spock discovers that the Griffin didn't undergo any kind of mishap or attack. Instead, all bodies were transported by Chief Security Officer Rose Harper, who was also the ghost. Turns out Harper is a lot like La'an. La'an, dedicated and driven. Before whatever went down, she was getting multiple reports of violent and erratic behavior by the crew. As it escalated, she took radical steps and transported most of the crew into open space while they were still alive. Spock then gets trapped in sickbay with body bags suddenly full of blood and bodies. La'an is on the bridge obsessing over Harper's logs, in which Harper addresses La'an by name. Kirk stops hearing babies crying long enough to notice that the shuttle they came in on is trashed and there's no escape. What follows is some of the creepiest trek ever. One of the sickbay bodies is T'Pring, who ties Spock to a table and cuts off his ears, claiming that he needs to embrace his humanity. La'an goes to engineering, where Harper is still talking to her, both through her logs and as a ghostly apparition. Harper appears with the ghosts of the dead crew, telling La'an, "Gooble gobble, one of us." Harper urges La'an to take charge and kill Kirk and Spock to make sure whatever is going on aboard the Griffin doesn't spread throughout Starfleet. Kirk is trapped on the bridge, still hearing that damn baby, even seeing a baby's arm reaching out of a derelict console. Just then, Pike, Una, Ortegas, Uhura, and Sam beam onto the bridge. More creepy, ghostly, gory shenanigans go down as we discover that the Enterprise crew members are just more imaginary figments. There will be blood and transporter body horror and mutilation and evisceration, culminating in a psychotic La'an stabbing Kirk in the guts before the real Enterprise swoops in and beams everyone to safety. La'an is caught, literally red-handed, on the transporter pad with a bloody knife looming over Jim. Pike and M'Benga discuss the creepiness of the Griffin and their experience with Division 12. Spike has referred 6 cases to Division 12, 2 of which remain unsolved. Jim is on the mend in sickbay. Christine pays a house call to Spock to fix his ears, and Pike tells a stricken, guilt-ridden, terrified La'an that he is not going to report her attempted murder of Kirk, instead telling her a childhood ghost story because he's clearly more interested in being a lovable space dad than a responsible captain. Instead of being comforted, La'an looks out of a porthole and sees the Griffin being towed away. Harper's ghost waves to her from the haunted ship. The end? Question mark? This time, for the first time on this spooky episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Is it October?
Thank you, Chris.
Right?
Yes. Odd, scary episode.
Yeah.
So, I don't think I've ever seen an episode of Star Trek like this. And Jessie, how have you been feeling about? I mean, you saw the premiere, obviously. I mean, what are you thinking about this season? And where are you at with Strange New Worlds these days?
So, if any of you watched my reviews, I was really out on season 3. Was not a big fan of season 3. There was no episode that season really even that stood out to me. I think the closest was the Gorn episode with Ortegas was close to being okay, but even then, I still have my major criticisms. And
just the ending.
Yeah, especially the ending. Yeah, the ending was basically the big thing. But yes, the premiere of this season I also was not a big fan of. Without going too deep into it, I found it to be kind of a little bit boring and also a little bit problematic. I don't love it when my Star Trek captains justify 2 genocides. You know what I mean?
1 is okay, but 2.
Yeah, 2. Archer. Archer just did 1, but no, Pike's doing 2 for 1. You know,
Archer didn't do no. Nature took its course. Archer did not do genocide. Stop it! I will die on that hill.
Fair.
If only we had some kind of directive to tell us how to act.
But until they do, I'm just gonna let these people die. So I wasn't a big fan of the premiere of this season. But what I will say is this episode was fantastic. I was so happy. I'm like, because again, after season 3, I was worried that I'd be kind of dragging myself over coals to watch the rest of this show. But this episode was like, they can still not only make good episodes, but great episodes. I was so excited by this one. I was really shocked by this one just turning it around for Strange New Worlds. What a great and fantastic episode. And as a horror fan, this was great because Star Trek has done horror before. Like, it's done, like, I think of Night Terrors, which is clearly like they have a kind of reference to it in this episode.
Yeah.
And The Haunting of Deck 12, like they've done, and Empok Nor. But I think this is the first, outside of maybe Empok Nor, I think this is the first that's like full on just horror paranormal Star Trek show, and makes me want now a Division 12 Star Trek spinoff. Like, give me an X-Files Star Trek show. I will take that right now, please.
That's a great idea.
That's my quick thoughts on this episode. I have many, many more, but like, I have been very iffy on Strange New Worlds for the past season and change, but this episode turned it around. It's great.
My opinion on season 4 so far is all bangers. Love them, and I really love this one. To me, it felt very Star Trek. Like this script could have been made in the 60s with the original cast, and it would have fit right in and been amazing. It was amazing what we watched. And I was scared watching it at times, and creepy things happening, and the music was great, and the visuals, and just everything got me right in the mood to be scared out of my wits, and I was. So I loved it. What about you, John?
I hated it. No, I didn't.
No, hated it.
It was very good. It was a really good episode. I liked, I mean, so much of it I liked, but like, I love that it kept pulling the rug out from under you, right? Because like, you're right. There's like horror episodes of Star Trek, but it's usually like, PG-13. Like, are you afraid of the dark? Well, yeah, it's kind of creepy, but you're not scared. This is like full Tales from the Crypt level gore and horror and like disfigurement.
Yes.
Everybody knows this one. You know what I'm doing, right?
I was shocked by like how much of like they did a little taster platter of almost every style of horror. There's like body horror, there's slasher, there's creepy ghosties. It's all over the place.
Yeah,
so
sorry, horror freaked me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that. You didn't know what was real at a certain point. The crew is here because they got the message out. And of course, like, at least personally, I'm like, okay, well, that's not really them. Or maybe it's not really them. But it was so convincing. They eventually convinced me that it was them until obviously you realize it's not them. I like that they didn't, well, I don't want to like, give the whole thing, but like, I really appreciated the ending. I like that. I liked that. Like, I don't know what the hell that was, honestly. Next episode.
It's space. Creepy shit happens in space,
There's weird stuff out here. There's weird stuff out here.
Yeah.
Chris.
I love this episode. It's funny. I was watching the first time I watched it. As everybody knows, we have the screeners, so I usually try to watch them on like Sunday morning when I don't have to work. And I was like broad daylight in my family room with my computer on my lap, watching the screener. Sun's coming in. It's beautiful morning, and I was creeped the F out. Like, I don't get creeped out watching horror stuff. Like, for whatever reason, this episode had just the right atmosphere, just the right tone. Everything about it grabbed me and made me feel like genuinely afraid at parts, like genuinely creeped out. And like I said, I thought that maybe on the second viewing, I could do a little bit more of a critical watch so that I could, do my whole thing. And I still got swept up in it. Like I said, to the point where my wife was standing over my shoulder and she tapped me and I jumped out of my skin because I didn't realize she was there. It was like crazy. So, very, very effective. It's funny because one thing that, when I saw this was going to be a ghost episode, like a horror episode, whatever it was going to be, I said, Strange New Worlds is Strange New Worlding again. Here we go with all of these genre swings. We're on episode 2 now, which is completely different from episode 1, which is dinosaurs and cowboys and Gwangi Valley and, Martians and, as you said, 2 genocides. And then all of a sudden, we just have this bottle episode, which is just one of the most effective episodes of Trek, or Strange New Worlds anyway, that I've seen. And it's got it all over cat's paw, I can tell you that, which is the only other horror episode I can think of. So.
How dare you don't like those witches? Come on.
My first episode, Sylvia, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here.
Yes, I know. It's funny. Your first episode is Cat's Paw, which I hate. Cadet Rick's first episode, Admiral Cadet Rick, his first episode was The Empath. I don't know how either of you watched Star Trek, if those were your first episodes.
My first one was Star Trek Nemesis, the audiobook. So there you go. Yeah.
Wow, that's odd.
Yeah. Well, my dad, we had a driving trip and he put on an audiobook and it was Star Trek Nemesis. So it got me. I liked it. So yeah.
Was Dad a Trekkie?
How old were you, Jesse?
I would have been what year did Nemesis come out? Do you remember? 2004?
About that.
I would have been like 11. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a baby. Yeah. Albie asked if your dad was a Trekkie.
My dad was a Trekkie, huge Trekkie. Growing up, he kind of fell off after Next Generation, but growing up he was a big Trekkie, and then he got me into Enterprise was the one running at the time, so we watched Enterprise together. So
yeah, you did.
Yeah,
good for you.
We did.
Lucky.
Yeah,
lucky.
That's a great one to watch with your kid or your parent. Yes.
So
that was a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I always
start with this one. Creepy, scared.
Call it the Trex Files. That's what I call
it.
Yeah.
Again, I want that spinoff. I'd take it. Yeah, if this is a pilot episode for a Trek spinoff, I've been like, yes, please give this to me. This would feel like a new twist on the Star Trek formula. I think in a fun way. I think.
For me, I did get the feels of X-Files episodes where you're like in the mindset of the characters that are going through something, and it was done so well. Yeah, I was creeped out from top to bottom, and I didn't know what was real. I guessed a lot, but I was wrong sometimes.
Yeah, no, that was the John, you said it, but that was the thing that I really loved about this episode is like usually as a horror fan, I can kind of guess where something's going, but they took things just long enough that I bought like, okay, maybe the twist is like T'Pring is actually here because she was trying to convince him enough, and she's sticking around enough and like playing it off as like I don't know how I got here, and Star Trek technobabble nonsense. She could have somehow gotten there,
yeah,
and so you're thinking like, okay, she's not really here, and then you go, well, maybe she is, and the whole thing that Spock's not listening to her is actually the twist of he's being an asshole to her, and she is actually here. And then it turns out no, and then they do the same thing again with the Enterprise crew. I'm like, they're definitely not here. It's not really here. But then they stick around enough, and they make a point where when La'an almost kills Ortegas in the transporter, which was also creepy stuff, reminded me of the Star Trek The Motion Picture where they transported the people in, but they Uhura, or Ghost Uhura, I think at this point, says something along the lines of like, oh, I saved Ortegas. And I'm like, okay, so if she saved Ortegas, that might mean it's actually, because why would they make a point of saying she saved Ortegas? So I was like, oh, it might actually be them. And then of course it's not again. So it plays with you so well in this episode, even for someone who like, I watch a horror movie a week and I was still like kind of drawn in and surprised by this episode.
The thing that got me was when Kirk was talking to Sam, and it was like it sounded like him. It was a very heartfelt because it was so removed from the action. Like normally, if in my years of experience fighting demons, normally like when a ghost tries to like pretend, it'll pretend for like a minute or so to lull you, and then it'll turn. But he was Sam for like a good 10 minutes, like during that whole conversation until he wasn't. That's I mean, it was really masterful.
And they didn't do the thing where it was quite a little off, so you knew it wasn't right. And
no, he felt just like Sam the whole time, and like had a good. It's like, let me give you some character development before I kill you.
What I think tricked me the most was the landing party stayed the same from the three different people's perspectives.
Right.
So I was like, so there's got to be some kind of consciousness kind of reaching into their minds and controlling the situation, because I thought maybe they're, tripping on some kind of acid from a mold that's in the atmosphere or something. But then those things wouldn't have connected maybe. So
speaking of that, Albie, that's I was wondering if that was effective writing or a cheap trick that the writers were playing on us, because you would think that everybody, if these are all figments, that everybody would be seeing a different version of the crew coming through. But like you said, there was sort of a narrative through line where they were acting the same as if they were the crew, even though, Spock would have no way to know what was going on the bridge. And, Kirk and La'an are, once Uhura and Ortegas leave, La'an is caught on deck 17 somewhere, and there is no rational reason why Uhura and Ortegas would be following out Pike's orders, which is to go fix the transporter so we can get off. I mean, if this entity wants to keep them on the ship and, have them kill each other, or whatever it was, whatever force was directing this whole thing, you'd think that the kayfabe would be gone the second they're out of Kirk's sight. But it wasn't. So I'm trying to decide if that was a cheap trick or a really neat way to tell the story. Maybe it's both.
What made it work for me? Because I agree with you. Like, it could also be like playing it up a little bit and kind of just like playing fast and loose. What made it work for me is that this felt like it was really focused in on psychological horror. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we don't get an explanation of what's going on here, which I do really like. Sometimes I like the idea of space is big and unknowable, and sometimes we're just not going to have the answers to things. And I like that as a thing that Star Trek sometimes does here and there. So there's that part of it that I really enjoyed. But then I think because the episode's so focused in on the character arcs, like every character here really had a good, strong arc and exploration of what their anxieties are. I think because that was the through line, I was willing to buy into a little bit of the like, okay, some of the rules of this may be playing a little fast and loose with how it's supposed to be going, but it's in service of the really strong character stuff and also some good scares. So I think it worked well enough for me in terms of it. Like, yeah, it's a little bit of a trick, but it worked well enough that I didn't need the explanation of like, this is literally what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I also like that it affected them in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of times on a Star Trek show, it's like, oh, there's a spore and everybody's uninhibited or everybody's violent or everybody's whatever, or everybody's this. But, you know, what happened to Lon is what happened to Kirk. And what happened to Kirk is what happened to Spock. Like they, like, you're right. It's all based, I guess, on their like, you know, internal anxieties. But Kirk was just straight up haunted.
Mm-hmm.
And Lon was kind of possessed. And Spock was, I guess, a mixture of the two,
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
Or just, I don't know. But I like that it wasn't just a thing that did this. You know what I'm saying? It didn't just make everybody fill in the blank. Like which is another reason why it was so hard to get a bead on whether or not it was really happening, because there wasn't one set of symptoms to kind of say, okay, this isn't happening to you or this is happening to you. It's just something was happening to everybody.
Yeah.
Which is why you didn't know that the crew wasn't there. The Enterprise crew wasn't there.
One thing, too, that I really loved, speaking about it being about anxieties, is that it explored some of these anxieties of these crews in ways that I thought were handled much better. So without going super into it, like one of my big issues with season 3 of Strange New Worlds was the kind of problematic nature of how it explored some of the stories. So like with La'an, for example, in season 3, you had the whole thing about her also being, again, worried about her augment DNA, and they did the Vulcan episode. And it kind of ends on this note of like, oh, I think Spock says like, it's part of your core that you are evil, and that like messing with your Vulcan DNA caused you to be this way. It caused you to be more evil. And I dislike the sort of bioessentialism angle of that. They kind of did something similar with Spock too, even that episode and other ones where it's just like, oh, Vulcans are more predisposed to be logical, which is never true. It's been more of a cultural thing, and so it kind of bioessentializes those things. Here in this episode, it's dealing with those same anxieties of like Spock's worrying about his biraciality and his draw to the human or Vulcan side. La'an worried about her augment nature and like, am I inherently evil or not? But because of this is ghosts and coming out of their own personal anxieties rather than being like tied to their DNA or some bioessentialist logic, it allowed those anxieties and those worries to be explored in a way that like felt true without going into like problematic territory of like, people are just like that. People are just programmed to be evil or programmed to be more logical. And I thought that was a really, given the landmines this show has stepped on before, especially in season 3, I thought that like, okay, this is a much better way to explore those same ideas without falling into problematic territory. And I liked that quite a lot for this episode.
I think one thing that made it very effective, I mean, you guys are saying it's like anxieties. I think it's more specific than that. It was about the relationships that they felt, that all of them felt in some way that they had failed people that they loved. So what more effective way, not just to be like scary in space, but as you said, Jessie, the good character arcs, like to bring up the things that they regret the most when it comes to letting down the people who they care about the most. And it was wonderful to see to bring back, because I've always loved the actress that plays her. Her name is Gia Sandhu, and she's fantastic. And she was so, it was so groovy to see her. And then to have the twist where I thought they were going to pull back, you know, like you said, John. You have it's like maybe a PG 13 level at most, but she's cutting Spock's ears off and they don't pull back. Like, they show it. It's crazy. And at the end, you think that, okay, maybe it's going to be, hey, this was all in his head or whatever. No, I mean, he's holding the bloody scissor. He cut his own ears. Yeah. They didn't pull that punch either. I thought that he was going to be back or whatever. No, he's covered in blood. And this is some serious stuff. So whatever's happening on the ship, it's not just a mind bleep per se. There is some kind of force on that ship. I wonder if anyone that goes on to do you have to die there? Is it like the Nexus? Like, does the Division 12 crew, let's talk about Division 12 too, but are they going to see ghosts of Kirk, like stabbed in the belly? Are they going to see ghosts of Spock with his mutilated ears? Are they going to see ghosts of Pike with the fingers?
I think they'll see the people that are important to them. I think they'll see the people that are relevant to.
Right, but how is it going to manifest? Yeah, how's it going to manifest? Like, I think
it all starts with Rose.
Is it going to be Rose?
Yeah, I think she's and that's another thing I wasn't super clear on, but I was okay not being super clear on it. Did she kill everybody who died, or did some of them kill each other too?
I think a combination.
It was a combination of both. Yeah, what happened was there was increasing discordant episodes. Started with like people fighting, and then there were a couple of deaths, and then I guess she had gone crazy enough with whatever the entity was on the ship that she beamed everybody out into space. And I'm wondering though if they're seeing Rose because Rose is an avatar for duty. I mean, they're all at like this conference, this future Federation Leaders Conference. That's a little bit weird to frame it, but
it's a leadership seminar. You know, you got to go do your training every year.
Right. You know? Got to press the flesh at the where they're at the Ferengi Hilton. You get your animals.
It's like I'm just here for the hors d'oeuvres, man. Just like that one episode of Next Generation.
They said open bar, so I'm there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wonder if because Lon is going through this, maybe the Rose character manifested itself specifically because she was the strongest personality. And because Kirk heard the baby first before they saw Rose. So Rose is obviously La'an's, because I think she sees Rose first, creeping down the hall. So the fact that they're all able to see her after that, but that was the one inconsistency, that they were all seeing the same delusion, whether it be Rose, whether it be the empty sickbay with the empty body bags until it wasn't, but nobody seemed to hear David crying in the distance. Only Jim did.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's you call it an inconsistency. I just say it's targeted. That's what I mean. Like I think it is weird that he's the only one who heard it, but I don't think that was a mistake. I think I wouldn't call it a mistake, but the thing that I guess, if anything, bumped me, it was that he would hear it and then go after it. Because Kirk is smart. He's like, okay, this clearly can't be what I think it is. He would ignore it maybe, or like hear it or say, hey, you guys hear this? Here's what I'm experiencing. But to him to fall for it didn't track for me. But we also know that this thing is playing with their heads, so I can let that go.
He didn't like chase it down at any point. I think the only time he like got distracted by it was when he went to hear like what that noise was in the conference room, and he sees the little toy come out, because he hears the baby a few times. He like looks down the hoarder of awfulness and he's like, I wonder if what's down there, but he doesn't go down it. I think, which, though, to be fair, if I jump onto a starship and I hear a baby crying, immediately I'm like, all right, guys, we are leaving. Let's call the shuttle. We're out of here.
And she's gone.
Bye. I will also say too, Chris, maybe you didn't notice this too. They actually, technically, Rose appears before the baby crying. Did you catch Rose when they beamed in?
She was like kind of creeping out.
Yeah.
She was like but it was still kind of shadowy.
Yeah. She like flickers in and out for a second. Yeah.
And at first I thought it was like a zombie. I said, oh, we're going to do another zombie.
I thought it was zombies too.
Yeah. Right. We already saw Vulcan zombies on Enterprise, and we saw the Lotus zombies, the Last of Us zombies last season with the Klingons. So I was like, oh, we're going to come back to this well, but it turned out to be more like The Ring, which
The Ring. I felt The Ring a lot.
What is that style of horror that's specifically Japanese. The first time I saw The Ring, it scared the shit out of me.
I forget what that is technically called. I mean,
the Ringu.
Yeah,
Ringu.
Yeah. But what I liked about it, and just to shout out the directing of it, so I made a connection to Hill House and Bly Manor. Have any of you seen that show?
No.
Oh yeah. So John, you'll know, like one of the fun things about that show, it's really, really good. I'd highly recommend both of them. But part of the way that's shot is there's so many scenes where you just watch the show and then you go back and be like, oh, there were ghosts hiding in the background of almost every shot, or a bunch of times. Like there was all of these like lists on like BuzzFeed back in the day where it was like, oh, look at all these shots where you missed the ghost in these shots because they were hiding. And it was very similar in this episode where you had like, Rose hiding behind the pillar at one point and she sort of flickers in and then disappears. And the way that this was directed that I really enjoyed was there's so many wide shots. So you go back and watch this. So many of the shots of the episode are like you can see the whole room and the characters are just small in the frame, and then there's a lot of shadow there as well. So what you're doing is searching the frame, waiting to be like, oh, where's something scary? Where's something scary? By having Rose appear that first thing. And so you're constantly on edge, anxious, looking for something awful to come and get them, which I just thought was a really cool way to direct the episode and shoot the episode. So I just think and I say that because, no shade at any other directors on this show, but like I often sometimes feel that a lot of the directing on modern Star Trek shows have always been sort of like a little haphazard, where it's just like, all right, we'll just get a bunch of cameras and we'll shoot a whole bunch of things at different times and it won't be really intentional. Whereas the directing and cinematography of this episode felt very intentional, and I really enjoyed it quite a lot.
Yeah. It was creepy too, and it was funny that I had the experience watching it with Serenity, and she would see things before I would, and she'd be like, ah, and I'd be like, what? And I'd be like, ah. So it was great and creepy. The part that freaked me out the most, I think, was the body horror, because like Pike cutting his fingers off looks so real. It was creepy, and I've seen that before in real life, but like not intentional. But it like got me really scared in that, and the open wound on Una on her stomach, that looked so creepy and real, and it didn't look like fake special effects, so they did really good on that. But when he was cutting off his fingers, I was expecting Mikey Day to jump out and ask, is it cake?
It's a Troy cake the whole time. It's a Troy cake the whole time.
Yes, Pike was like always a cake, and always will be a cake.
My only knock on the body horror, and I love body horror. Like it's one of my favorite genres. Like I'm not a gore hound. Like I don't love like movies where it's just like gore for gore's sake. But when you do body horror and like you get a real tactile sense of like what it feels like in someone's body to experience that, it can be really cool. If you ever see the movie Titan, really messed up movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a doozy though. Let me put it this way. It is a movie where in the first 20 minutes of the movie, a woman a car, and that's just the beginning of the movie.
Who's on top?
All right, I'm going to write that one down.
She's in the car. It's a car.
Oh, got it. Got it.
Yeah,
or is the car in
manual
her.
Transmission?
Yeah. I don't want to spoil. That's part of the fun, actually. Okay. No, it's a really good body horror movie. I'd highly recommend it, but it is a freaky movie. My only knock on the body horror is I loved the shot where Sam's getting his like guts put out the back of him.
Shades of Alien 4, right?
Alien Resurrection. I liked it. Was
Alien. I called it out right when I saw it.
Yeah,
I was like, that's from Alien.
But my only knock against it is I didn't like. So I like the shot where he's being sucked out, and you get to see like I think there was probably practical effects where they had his guts flying out.
Yeah.
I didn't like the CGI shot of him floating away. That felt a little because the body horror was so good, and I was like, ooh, it feels very real. That feels like they had something there. And then you get the CGI shot of him floating in space, and it was like, oh, I feel the CGI-ness of it, and it kind of took me out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think I don't know. It's just the illusion. Like, how can a floating meteor crack? Oh, it's a windshield.
Mm-hmm.
You at least it's a windshield. Sometimes it's a view screen.
You'd think if it's a windshield, it should at least be transparent aluminum, right? I mean, Scotty invented it at this point. So
which is just. Did you hear it? Just actually got invented in real life.
Yeah,
really? Just like a news story. I think like a week or so ago, they actually just like fully have invented transparent aluminum. It's a real thing now.
So that was supposed to be 1984. So by Strange New Worlds rules, we're in that timeline where things have been pushed forward.
Yep.
Because all of that should have happened in 1994 with the con stuff. So
yep. So now we're getting con. Look up in Vancouver. We're getting con soon.
We got to build a bridge.
We're going to need some transparent aluminum. I wonder how much
that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
So, what do you use transparent aluminum for? Like, what are the applications?
I guess the same
Pepsi
as you
Clear,
would use
obviously.
glass, right?
What'd you say, John?
Pepsi Clear.
That would be amazing. What if in like 10 years all our soda cans are clear?
Wow. I love it.
You know what?
Add that right now.
I like Pepsi Clear. I'm gonna
Yeah, I
right
loved
now.
it. They don't
thought
make
it
a
was tasty.
diet now, though, do they? Yeah.
I think Pepsi Clear tasted like transparent aluminum.
Hey.
Sure.
Crystal Pepsi.
Easy shot.
Were you guys
Kick the
trying to
can
figure
while
out
it's
the
down.
Were you guys trying to figure out the mystery? I was trying to figure out a mystery because I assumed with Star Trek I was going to be told what it was at the end, and I'm so glad I wasn't. But as I was watching, I was trying to figure out, and at one point I thought maybe a Q that was going crazy and just was having fun torturing people. That's why I thought Spock's ex could actually be on the ship too, or even David as a baby. Because I mean, from a parent's perspective, if you hear your baby crying and you know they're not supposed to be there, it's still your baby's cry, so you're gonna by default fall for it. I think so. And if it was a Q kind of thing, that would have been possible.
My guess, and I'm glad it was not this, I would have probably groaned at it, but because Strange New Worlds had a tendency to be like nostalgia, like, oh, it's a reference to a TOS episode or whatever. I forget the name of it, but because they were kind of setting up people to fight each other, and La'an was doing that, I thought it might have been the Day of the Dove entity.
Yeah.
Would have been an interesting twist on it.
Yeah, we didn't have the little floaty pinwheel going through the ship. I was thinking maybe Red Jack.
Wolf
There were
Fold.
definitely Wolf in the Fold vibes on the.
But nobody was getting possessed. So that's when the Red Jack thing went out of my head. I said, nah, that's not quite working.
Kind of.
But that was at the end. Yeah.
I was gonna say, wouldn't this is like the proper way to do because you guys are all pissed that the what's his name guy showed up at the end of the Ortega's episode.
Trelane?
No, not Trelane. The
Metron
experimenter. Yeah, the Metron.
Oh yeah.
So like
Terrarium.
If they had not done that, that would be this, right? You would just be left with the ambiguous ending.
I mean, my big thing always with like nostalgia stuff, so it was like with Trelane and also the Metron was always like, oh, are they just doing it for reference sake and not adding anything to it, or you're just sort of like nostalgia? So like the Trelane thing is like, oh, we're just doing the same ending as the original Trelane ending. It's like the same thing, but less interesting and less like, ooh, we're getting a Q reference now, but it's like not really developing it anyway. So for me, and I kind of noted this before, but just to say, like, I'm working on my own script right now too, that is an Eldritch horror script, and there's always this interesting balance when you deal with like cosmic Eldritch horror where you don't explain what the horror is, because you have to kind of do two things. You have to do one, provide audiences enough answers so they can kind of like have fun guessing and at least kind of feel like they understand a little bit, but like leave a little bit open to interpretation. Because if you explain too much, then it becomes less interesting. If you don't explain enough, people feel frustrated. And I think this episode kind of hit enough of the line where you can kind of try to be like, all right, what are the rules here? There's some consistency, some not. What's going on here? So you can kind of figure it out. But if you're going to leave it and sort of not explained, again, what I said before is you have to really, really make sure that what you're really focusing on is the character arcs, and like the horror is in service of what the characters are feeling rather than like it's in service of explaining everything. So again, I'm glad that it's not explained, and I'm especially glad that it's not a like nostalgic reference in some way, shape, or form. So
perhaps they're learning from their mistakes.
Yeah.
Their missteps.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Did you guys notice there was a lot of like shout outs to other Star Trek in this episode? Yeah. What were some of those, Chris?
I don't what?
Well, they were talking about David and David getting killed by being stabbed.
Yeah. I mean, they telegraphed some canon references here. That one thing that It's funny because when I see stuff like this, I've mentioned this before on the pod, it's just like when I go back and rewatch stuff that I've seen a gazillion times, all of a sudden I have this new wrinkle that I get to enjoy it on another level. And now I'm wondering if when Kirk is saying, Klingon bastard, you killed my son, and he's, he misses his chair and falls on his ass on the bridge before they blow up the Enterprise. Now is he thinking of La'an and what she said to him before she stabbed him in the guts, or as she stabbed him in the guts, like it's just blowing his mind. So that's a nice wrinkle. The fact that if you're going to bring up David and Carol,
they did.
It's good if you're going to mine Kirk for something that we only got to see like in 2 instances for probably 40 minutes of screen time over the last 60 years. The fact that he has a son, and the fact that he lost his son, and that he really had no relationship with Carol at all beyond this. They're mining good stuff here that augments canon, that doesn't contradict canon. And that's, I think, what a good prequel show should do without being slavishly devoted last season of Enterprise to setting up prequelitis. So this, as you said, Jessie, what made this episode really work, aside from the horror, what made the horror so affecting was the fact that it was grounded in the character's emotions. And you got to think that, Kirk is probably tortured by the fact that he doesn't have a relationship with his son, yet he does the thing and he goes to this conference. Oh, I can't miss the conference.
He's a bad dad. Duty comes before a family for him.
And I wonder now, when I think of like the naked time, when he's in the conference room saying never lose you, like he hates the Enterprise in some degree because it has consumed everything. Like his whole identity is tied up in being captain of that ship. And this is before we knew that there was a Carol and a David and, long lost family that he apparently chose to neglect. Because at the end of this, Uhura sets him up with the transmission to talk to Carol. So you have to assume that he's trying, but he's going to fail. I mean, it's just written. We know that he fails. So it makes it all the more like surreal to think of like so much of the stuff in TOS now colored with this lens. And that's what I think like a great prequel does. It adds dimension and depth to stuff that you think that you already know.
Yeah.
So
I like that she kind of leaves him on red at the end there when he calls. He just sort of like calling, she doesn't pick up, and it's kind of like, he kind of feels like he deserves it, and because he's neglected them so much, but he's trying and he's not. You sort of like get this sort of sense of like what could have been, because you know where it's going to head in the seasons ahead. And I really love it when a prequel can do that, where it's like it's not so focused on it in this episode, but it gives a little bit more depth to what we see later on, and gives you a little bit more complexity to it, of like he tried to reach out. It wasn't just like because in Wrath of Khan it's kind of implied like she asked him to stay away and he stayed away, and he had some ache about it, but he just never really did anything. Whereas here you get much more of a complicated look at that, of like that's ultimately where this lands, but you see him sort of having this push and pull of like, is this the right choice? I don't know, I'm unsure. And I like that.
And I like the way it ties into what you were saying earlier, Jessie, about like questioning the inherent nature of a person. Like obviously Spock has got his half human, half Vulcan thing, and La'an has her genetic thing. But Kirk is like, am I just not built for this? Am I just not designed to be a family person? Am I like, and I think he says it's like the family curse, basically. Like, our Kirk's just bad at this. But Sam has somehow cracked the code. But like, I don't think we're not made for this. We're not made to do this family thing. We all suck at it, except for Sam. But I'm not saying that's necessarily the case, but I'm saying that's what Kirk is struggling with.
Yeah, I think I like that because he kind of pushes that away, because like Sam disproves that fact of like, no, this isn't innate to us. It's what I do the work. I put in the time, and I'm not great at it either, but I'm putting in the work. And I really like that again, it kind of pushes away the like, no, this isn't just innate to us. Like, you can make the choice to do this, but you have to work on it. And and Kirk clearly has a much more complicated ability to do that than Sam. And I also like, speaking of Sam, we were talking a lot about David, but Sam also says before he gets sucked out the view screen, he says you can't save everybody. And he's not only referring to David there as David dying, but Sam himself gets killed as well. And so there's a little bit of a foreshadowing of that as well.
Yeah. You know, I got so focused on the fact that he said my boys, plural, in that scene that I was thinking, okay, well, I thought that Peter was like the last surviving Kirk after Jim, because Sam and Aurelian are dead. And what happened? So he's got boys? Like, is there another like Kirk brother or nephew hanging around?
I thought Sam did have 2 kids. Am I misremembering?
I don't recall in the original series whether they said, we just watched Operation Annihilate with our mustaches, Albie. Yeah.
All the kids had mustaches. That's all I remember.
Right. That's,
they all look like Shatner.
So I was just, now canonically David has more than one kid, and I think it was always, and maybe I'm going with
Sam.
I'm sorry, Sam has more than one kid. Thank you for correcting me. I'm thinking of like Jim Crawley's Star Trek Phase 2 or Star Trek what was it called before that, where they brought New Voyages. That's right. Yeah. It's not Continues. That's Vix. But Jim Crawley's New Voyages turned to Phase 2. And they introduced Peter as a crewman. And also the first openly gay character in Star Trek. So they mined that character for a lot of stuff in like fan circles. But was it ever really established that was the last, the last surviving member of Kirk's family? Because you got to figure Sam is dead. The dad has got to be dead, right? George is his name, I think.
Yeah.
George, And the fact that another thing, I didn't even think of this. I mean, you're talking about relationships and letting people down. Kirk is afraid that he's his dad. And I didn't even, he's okay. Where is his anxiety coming from? It's seeing a bad example and continuing the cycle. Right. It's not really a cycle of abuse, but it's just a cycle of neglect.
Neglect. Yeah. So he's being sad about it at the same time as he's doing it.
Right.
Which that whole part of the episode kind of made me sad and look at Kirk in a different way. Because I think when I watched Star Trek 2, I got the impression, I was probably wrong, that he was unaware of David for the longest time. But in this, we see that he and Carol were together and they had a baby and they were trying to be a family unit. And I don't see how anyone could choose their career over their family. So it made me sad.
You got to think about
people do it every day. Lots of people do it all the time.
Yeah.
And there is a throwaway line in it's not really throwaway. I mean, it's pivotal to Kirk's not knowing David in that scene. Is that David? I did what you wanted. I stayed away.
Right.
So it's like, is he letting her take him off the hook by honoring her wishes, so to speak? Like, is that just a convenient excuse? And I didn't even consider the fact that Carol wasn't picking up. Like, I thought that he was going to be hailing a ship, and we're waiting for that, and it's just ringing and ringing. I thought it's just, space is big. It's going to take a little while for the message to come through. And he was just waiting for it to pick up. Not like
my thought was they didn't want to
her cell phone,
Carol yet. My thought was they didn't want to cast Carol yet. Yeah.
No, I was like, she's done with him. She's I didn't 3 weeks later or something. He was
I didn't read it that way. I didn't read it that way. So that's a very interesting take. That makes it all the more tragic because wow, he's already lost her, which also tracks because you think David's got to be a baby at this point, but he talks about how wonderful David is. So he does clearly know the child to some degree.
He's probably seen him at some point. Yeah.
Right. But for him to not even recognize his own son when he meets him again in Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, it means she probably had a conversation of like, you have to. My bet is that she gives him an ultimatum at some point of like, you pick. It's either your career or being here with David, and he chooses the career. And she says, okay, if that's the case, you have to. I want you to stay away because you he deserves to not have to deal with that, which is a bit rough, but that's sort of my guess is what it was. And I also think what I like is the arc of this is you go to the opening of the episode. Kirk has that sort of captain's log where he says, for the first time, I love exploring the unknown, but the first time I feel like I'm not in the right place. And of course, he's talking overtly about the feeling of dread with the whole thing that we're leading into with the Griffin incident. But he's also talking about a situation with David here because he's a person who's like, yeah, I love going to the unknown. I love being, my career in Starfleet of going to hopefully one day be a captain. Like that's what I've always felt. But now I'm in unknown territory in my life and I don't know where I'm supposed to go there. And that's sort of the thematic pull through of this. And I think, for me, the thing that I've always thought about with Kirk is that he's this guy who's like, I love, you said he had a complicated relation with the Enterprise. And I think that's true. But I think on the whole, he has this feeling of like, I love exploration. I love the stars. I love exploring. I love the Enterprise, the sort of like, my handsome lady, as he looks upon her in the motion picture. And so there's always that sense of like nautical like love of the ship thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the way I read him, and the way I read him at the end of this episode, and maybe you'll have a different interpretation, is that he chooses going out into space more because that's just what he feels drawn to and most comfortable in. Maybe on some level, perhaps feels like he wouldn't be a good dad because of his father, and so stays away from David because of that. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That is good insight. Like he feels like he's going to do the same thing to his son, so he's staying away so he doesn't.
Yeah, so, but by doing that, problem. he's doing it. Yeah, exactly.
But I could see it from his perspective. Yeah, it just makes me sad and feel different about Kirk, I think, and it makes me appreciate Ben Sisko even more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean,
as we all should.
Yeah.
Ben is the champ. I think that it's funny because you guys are now making me draw a parallel. I've seen Search for Spock so many times I can just act it out. Like I can just repeat the dialogue. I had it on VHS and I watched it every day. It never really occurred to me the parallel of Kirk losing David in that movie and then turning around and sacrificing the Enterprise. He lost everything that was important to him in that movie. Like he should have been in Star Trek 4. He should have been a freaking wreck. But we were too busy saving the whales and, being being in exile on Vulcan. So
it was good pizza.
Yeah, I guess.
That's always why I always so this is me being very queer. So forgive me my queer sidetrack here, but I love Search for Spock specifically because it has this very interesting queer reading to it where you could be like Kirk sacrifices the Enterprise, his career, and the person that he's sort of like often referred to as his wife or his, he's always been referred to his wife as his partner and his woman. So it's like he sacrifices his career and his woman and his son in that movie, all to save Spock, who in Star Trek is his sort of like longing partner in either a romantic way or in a platonic way. There's obviously been read both ways, and I think that's beautiful that it's read both ways. And so it's like, he's sacrificing all of these signs that we would normally associate with like a good, heteronormative life, career, woman, son, for his, gay lover best friend. So I always read that movie in that, like, not overtly meant to be like, this is a gay love story, but you could have a queer reading of it in that sense. So.
I never thought of it that way. I mean, whether you read it as platonic or like romantic, Kirk and Spock are soulmates. Like,
100%,
just like hands down. So however you want to interpret that, like they belong together.
They're
each other's it.
There's there's this beautiful essay that I love by Joanna Russ. She's a Hugo Award-winning author, and she wrote this really beautiful essay about Kirk/Spock and how there was so much fan fiction back in the day that wrote Kirk and Spock as gay. And her argument was that it's actually really important that we never learn if they were platonic or romantic at any point, because the point is in Star Trek it can be read either way, and it doesn't matter because in the Federation it wouldn't matter whichever way you look at it. And so like there were people who are very against reading Kirk and Spock today because we have a very heteronormative society. So they will be very vitriolic against reading queer readings of characters. But ultimately, the power of their relationship is they are soulmates, and it doesn't matter whether it was romantic or not, whether it was, whatever version it took. It doesn't matter because those things aren't seen as oppositional. Whereas today we often see like being gay and being straight are against each other. It's like, no, there's still feelings of love and soulmates and caring, whether or not that ends up in platonic, romantic, or sex or not sex, whatever it ends up being, that doesn't matter in the Star Trek future, which is always how I read those characters. Anyway, this is a sidetrack from horror, ghosties, and David, but it's a fascinating thing.
No, but I mean, it shows the beauty of Star Trek. I mean, because if you pointed that out to Roddenberry, he would say, of course, that's what I built into it. And that's, he did not. They were just besties. But the fact that the Star Trek universe and the chemistry between the characters, even though it was unintentional, allows for that interpretation, and allows for it so easily. And makes it, and it doesn't change anything fundamentally about who these two people are.
Exactly.
It's just,
that's
again,
why I love it.
It just keeps on giving. It's just the franchise that keeps on giving, and you can see so much of yourself and so many other points of view in it. Yes. And it all is still the IDIC. It's still that infinite diversity and infinite combinations coming together in a positive way. So, wow.
I agree. 100% agree with you on that. Yeah.
Speaking of, when we get back after the break, I want to talk about this Kirk, Spock, La'an romantic triangle feeling of this episode, because that really intrigued me. We'll talk about that and so much more after the break. We'll be right back with Jessie.
Do we have any Trek and Tells?
I don't really have a Trek and Tell, but I grabbed these on the way out here.
And I can't see what those are. Hold them up to the camera and explain.
Part 2.
Oh.
Why
is it all part 2?
Why do you have three Blu-rays of that?
Well, I wanted to watch it more than once.
You have a problem.
You do.
I do have a problem. Well, my thought was The Hangover Part 6, so 2 times 3 is 6. So.
I know what happened. You bought it high, and then you forgot you bought it, and then you bought it again, but you were high again, and you kept...
Yep.
I was dude,
that's why I have so many... Yeah, that's why I have so many Harold and Kumars.
You woke up with 3 Blu-rays not knowing how you got them.
Yep, and I just popped one in. And we're back. We're talking Star Trek Stranger Worlds Season 4, Episode 2, The Ghost Story, The Griffin... What is it? The Griffin what?
Incident.
I like it. It's scary. It's spooky. This love triangle thing, because I was kind of intrigued and go, ooh, what's going to happen? Because I ship La'an and alternate universe Kirk, and I ship La'an and Spock both, and they're all 3 together, and I wouldn't mind Kirk and Spock hanging out too,
Sure.
So I was like, this is going to be fun, and then some ghost had to interrupt their party.
I will say there was that one beat where Spock says there's some negatively charged ions, and Kirk goes, a ghost? And Spock goes, I mean negatively charged ions. And I'm like, that captured the essence of like Kirk / Spock to like Kirk and Spock to me. Like that's their relationship to a T. And I was like, yeah, they nailed that. That was so good.
They nailed a lot in this episode. A lot of credit to this writer. I mean, the episode was amazing.
Yeah. I hear you too, because what I liked about, because one of my least favorite things of season 3 was all the relationship drama. There was so much of it, and I was like, it felt so like, I don't mind the relationship stuff, but the amount of it and how kind of juvenile it sometimes felt at times, and the fact that it was also very heteronormative too. This Strange Worlds has sort of backed away from some of its queer representation that other Star Trek shows have had, unfortunately. And so what I like about this episode in that regard is it's not overly hit upon, because you can still read like when La'an and Kirk are walking down that hallway, and Kirk's talking about, David and Carol, and he sort of mentions like, yeah, Carol and I are kind of on the outs right now. You can also sort of think about La'an's feelings on that, because she expressed feelings to him at the end of season 2, the real universe, our prime universe Kirk, however you want to call him. And that was sort of his big thing of like, oh, Carol was the reason that he didn't want to explore anything with La'an, because he kind of was on with Carol at that point. So you can kind of still read of like, oh, La'an, is currently with Spock, but it's kind of like a less of a like fully official relationship, and now Kirk's kind of available, and so I don't mind that, especially, but it's as long as it's not like, oh, now it's like this old relationship high school drama. It doesn't get overly pointed out, but it could be implied in all of that. And I think that that's really a much better and more mature way for the writers to handle it, rather than like, oh, well, I have feelings for Spock, so now we're going to dance and then make out, and then Uhura and the other guy are just going to start, because they look at each other and they're young and hot and going to make out. Like, it's just like, all right. So, yeah.
I think that it was nice and subtle because it shows that it's complicated. They've been playing with these characters, and will they, won't they, in many ways, because we didn't just get it with La'an and Kirk. We got it with La'an and Spock. She's saying, be careful, and they kiss before she leaves the holodeck, not the holodeck, the sickbay. And then when Spock is getting the house call from Christine, you can tell there's a little bit of something there too.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
and
to Pring, they're bringing up to Pring. So it's just like, is there anybody in the show that Spock hasn't boffed yet? I don't know.
Uhura, that's in the alternate.
That's in the movies.
Yeah, only in the other.
No, they don't have that rapport in the rec room when he's playing his Lurpa, whatever it is. Yeah, and she's singing about him and all that stuff. So
really, just Spock's done everybody at this point, you know.
Well, you can't blame anybody for getting with Spock if they get the chance, right?
I mean, look, I saw the hairy chest Spock in that one episode of the original series. I know, I get it.
So, but it's funny because you guys, you know, when we have the relationship stuff, it's nice and subtle. It helps build the character nicely. But one thing that you guys had said earlier, which I don't know if I agree with, because we've been exploring La'an. It seems like this is going to be a La'an, and is it nature versus nurture with her, which is kind of a step back for Strange New Worlds, because they spent an entire episode in season 1 or maybe season 2 with Una going through that entire trial, saying that it's just because she's genetically enhanced doesn't mean that that's who she is, blah blah blah. And they made it a point to say that to La'an too. And ever since the Vulcan episode, 4.5 Vulcans, when she becomes like Romulan because she's just augmented, and that's just built into her instead of Vulcan. They're backing away. So it seems like they're playing into that now. Is the geneticism going to define who she becomes as this season goes on? I mean, I punched a dinosaur in the face. My hand is broken and I feel nothing. She has been psychotic before. In this episode, you guys seem to think, and I didn't read it this way, that she was possessed by whatever possessed Rose and made Rose beam people out into space. I think she was just fully realizing the lunatic that is inside of her and finally just letting go and embracing it, because the Griffin took away the barrier, took away the inhibition.
Yeah, I used the term possessed. I don't think she was possessed in the classic meaning sense of the word. I don't think a spirit took her over and was controlling her body. I think it was very much. I was just using that because we were referencing other types of horror genres. I think it was very much a shining Jack slowly being driven insane and then just going with it situation.
Yeah, that was my read on it as well. Too. Yeah.
Which Shining though? Are we talking about the book or the movie?
Nicholson.
I never read the book, so I'm talking about
yeah.
Nicholson. Yeah, well, I'm just to put a bow on that, John. Nicholson played Jack in that movie. All he needed was a slight breeze to push him into being a lunatic. He was already crazy. I mean, but anyway,
I'm not a big fan of the Shining movie either. But yeah, I agree. But this was my big issue with season 3, and I kind of touched upon this earlier, but just to sort of reiterate the point is, that Una episode, one of my favorite episodes of this show, and I think one of my favorite episodes of this era of Star Trek. And the scene that, when I first watched it, the scene that made me cry was that specific scene where the lawyer in that episode says to La'an, like, you are not what your genetics are, and you are told by people that that's what you are, and so you start to believe it. And it's true, because like as a queer person, you know, it's a similar thing to to me is like, I hear all the trans stuff going on right now, and you start to, like, as much as I know, like, being trans is not a bad thing or anything like that, but you start to believe it when you hear society over and over and over and over again tell you it, and it can get inside your head. And so that scene just made me cry when I watch it and when I still rewatch it. And then when I get to season 3 of the show, that Vulcan episode, 4.5 Vulcans, I think I really despise that episode. Not because, like, some of the humor is fine, it's fine enough, but I feel like the message to me was kind of antithetical to Star Trek, because even remove the lawn of it, it was, Vulcans are just kind of like that. And like they are just predisposed to being logical, when in all of other Star Trek we have always heard like, no, like they culturally choose to be logical. And that episode kind of implies like, because they got turned Vulcan, they are just kind of like that. And they have some like hand wavy stuff away about getting rid of that, but it really feels like very biological essentialist. And it ties into La'an, because there is that line, I think I said it earlier, where La'an becomes more Romulan, and the way that they explain that is Spock literally says, I believe it's part of your core because you are part augment. So the implication is, because you are augment, you are more predisposed to being evil because Khan was that way. You know what I mean? Is kind of the implication. And that, again, gets into this thing that cuts against that grain that I think is so beautiful, is like, we are not defined by our genetics. We are not defined by our our biology. Like, certainly it'll inform things, but like as a trans person, I always cut against the grain of like, no, our biology is not our destiny. Our choices are not our destiny, because you'll have many people tell you that that's the case. And so, and the similar things with all of Spock and the sort of bioessentialist stuff that they've sort of talked about, with like Spock being like, humans, when he turned human, he became more emotional. And it's like, no, Spock is biracial, and he's equally, he has equally human and Vulcan upbringing. It's cultural elements of both. So it's a thing that this show, I think, has gotten very problematic in how it's tried to address some of these things. And so I agree with you. And Chris, I think you actually could be right. Like, the episode could be leaning as like, it was something that they were sort of unearthing within her. But my hope would be, personally, is that that's not the direction that they go in, because that would sort of lean into that sort of like, it's part of her core thing that I dislike. And I sort of, the way I like to read this episode is the sort of like shining, sort of like, not exactly possession, but sort of like maneuvered or sort of influenced in that direction. But we'll see where that storyline goes throughout the season, because clearly they're setting that up as an arc for the season going forward with her. So we'll see how they conclude it.
Yeah, I got to think that, I'm sorry, Albie, I'll just finish. But the La'an is like one of 2 characters now on the show that we don't know what's going to happen to her. Maybe 3, if you count number 1. So, I mean, if you're going to swing big, the only choices you have are La'an, Ortegas, and Una, after a fashion, because everybody else, their fate is sealed. And maybe Pelia, I guess, but she's just a nothing character. So
she's a doctor.
How dare you?
But if they're going, she's comedy relief. She'll go off. Yeah, she'll go off in the TARDIS. She's a companion, I think.
She has to.
Yeah.
You have to hear that sound of the parking brake at the end somewhere.
So, but I guess I can see why they're setting this up, because if you're going to introduce a descendant of Ka'an Noonien Singh and name it La'an Noonien Singh, you sort of have to address it. You have to address it in a big way, and this is their last chance to do that.
Yeah, I don't mind addressing it. I just hope the end conclusion of whatever they're doing with her arc in the series isn't like, she's like got to overcome her biology, or she's predisposed to being more evil, that she needs to like overcome her nature. Because it's the same thing that we say about like men in society today. It's like, men are just predisposed. This is just boys being boys. I'm like, no, our culture teaches boys to see women as objects and to look down on women. Like, that's not an inherent part of being a boy. You know what I mean? And so I hope that sort of idea doesn't get played out in Star Trek, because that would be kind of one that I find would be a bit problematic. And to be fair, they've done both versions of that, like again 4.5 Vulcans, but then also in season 2 they did a beautiful story that cut against that I thought was really wonderful. So it's kind of up in the air where they're going to land with her character. I hope by the end of the series, either this season or next season, whatever they do with her, they do sort of end on a more hopeful note than those sort of bioessentialist themes.
I agree. I'm increasingly wary that they're going to be able to do this well because they keep bringing it up. So either she is just gonna go dark, as it were, and just kind of embrace it, or she's gonna struggle against it. And I feel like the trope is, tragically sacrifice herself. She's going to go too far. It's like, no, I can't believe what I've done. Everybody get off the ship before it blows. And then she died. Like, I don't want either of those things to happen. I want her to just deal with it and continue her career. Like, I don't know. Like, they keep bringing it up. So clearly that's going to come to some kind of head. I'm hopeful, but I'm
nervous. This
concerned.
shows last season had me being like, I don't necessarily know if I trust you this show, but I'm with you 100%, John. I hope that that's not what they go.
I'm very hopeful because I love La'an as a character.
She's great.
But when I'm doing the math of we have a season and a half here, 4, and then half of 5, who's going to be maybe the big bad of 5 for Kirk? I get weary.
I just want her to survive through the end of this show. I want her to continue on.
That would be amazing.
And she's not on the Enterprise, obviously. She just goes somewhere else. It happens. She can just transfer.
Here's my thing. Who do you think is going to be the one they most likely kill? Because if we have like Ortegas, Una, and La'an,
Ortegas,
I feel like they're probably going to kill somebody.
I think Erica is doomed. I feel Erica is doomed. I don't know why. I see her going out in a blaze of glory, flying the ship.
She only is referenced as, I think, Lieutenant Erica Ortegas on the Starfleet Academy wall.
On the memorial wall,
Well, I was going to say Una, but I guess she can't because she makes it into original series, right? So it can't be her.
No.
That already happened.
Yeah. She was only canonically in the cage, and the cage is before Disco.
Then I would call Una. I feel like that would be the most affecting death.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. They're setting her up to get to become a captain though by the end of this. At least this season they've started that arc. So
it's funny. I just want to go back to 4.5 Vulcans. Jesse, I saw your whole thing on it, but it's because I watched it. I watched it when it came out last year, and I thought that your take was fascinating. It's nothing how I ever would have interpreted the episode, and it just it kind of blew my mind the way your point of view on it, and I appreciated getting to think of it in those terms, but I can't help but think of, did you ever read Spock's World, Anne Crispin's book, Spock's World?
I did many years ago, but really great book.
But she posited that the Vulcans, and based on what Spock says, that their prehistory, they were savages, and logic was the only thing that saved them. And did a very good job in the beginning of that book talking about the history of Vulcan, where the Vulcans needed to turn to logic because they were killing each other. It was just something in them. Like it wasn't situational. Even when they were off planet, like they're in a spaceship, they're still savage and killing one another. And the only thing that saved this society was them turning to Surak and the tenets of logic. And I feel like when La'an, because of her augment DNA, kind of really regressed to that primal Vulcan, that violence, that intensity, and my stuff was colored by the fiction that I had read about Vulcan. So I loved that they went there with her because it was very much in keeping with everything that we sort of know about Vulcans and that has been expanded upon in the beta canon.
My thing with it was, so I do like that reading in some ways in terms of the history of the Vulcans. My issue with it was again, the specific line of Spock says I believe it's part of your core. As this is who you are, and then implying the violence element of her, because even within that story of the Vulcan things, the way I've always interpreted that Savage stuff, and they even say in 4.5 Vulcans, and they say it elsewhere, I think like Tuvok says it in Voyager at one point, is that Vulcans actually do have emotions, they just experience emotions more acutely, and they have a sort of deeper, stronger felt emotions, and that's why they have logic. And the way I always read that is like maybe that does have some biological basis of like we feel emotions through things like pheromones and things like, and different things in our body that help us feel emotions in our brains, so chemical reactions that we have. So maybe Vulcans have more of those chemical reactions or whatever. So there is some like biology does inform who we are and how we perceive and interact with the world. It's not sort of irrelevant to who we are. But obviously, as the Vulcans themselves have showed, like they aren't defined by that. Their own culture of like building logic and something shows that like they're not predisposed to savagery or predisposed to evil. They can create cultures that incentivize or push things different ways. And I always read like savagery in their race quote, whatever the way that you want to argue that is like, well, they had a culture that didn't have these sort of like practices that sort of guide them, and maybe like it was a culture that sort of pushed them more towards like being more aggressive or angry, or kind of like what we have with Star Trek today, or in our humanity today. If we look at like Star Trek, like humans today are, you could argue we're a quote-unquote savage race. We're doing wars, we're doing awful things, and yet Star Trek presupposes that we create a culture that incentivizes us not to see each other as oppositional or transactional or exploitative, but as something to find beauty and love in. So, I think it's like biology, certainly there's always like, again, I always think there is a nature versus nurture debate, but I always rub up against the idea of like people are like genetically predisposed to evil, or certain types of people are just kind of like that. There's certainly like racial, like pseudoscientific racial logic of like, people of color are, genetically predisposed to be dumber because their skulls are weird, like that sort of like pseudoscientific nonsense from, colonialization. I think that that's can be read as true in that episode. I just think the specific ways they handle it in that episode of like, oh, Vulcans are just happen to be more logical when they get turned Vulcan, or La'an is like in her core is more predisposed to being evil that she needs to overcome, I think is a weird way to have put that. And I think it's that mixed with like that episode on its own is like, okay, one episode is whatever, it's bad. But like that mixing with like episodes like with Spock getting turned human, and he also like suddenly loses his whole like logical ability, and it's like, no, like is that point we pointed out, like he learned how to do Vulcan meditation, he practices Vulcan meditation, he wouldn't have just lose that by becoming human. Sure, he may lose like the things that we see in this episode, like his ability to touch hot things that Vulcans have, but he wouldn't lose like his ability to like meditate, you know what I mean? It's an odd way to have shown that, and the show has been very mixed on it. Sorry, I had a really long explanation, but bioessentialism is a very complicated topic. So yeah.
I think as Trekkies, we have to take some episodes and just remove them from our own canon. And 4.5 Vulcans for me is something like a comic book tie-in to Star Trek, and it's not really in the universe for me. Yeah, it just makes a little sense.
But I feel like it's also, the show is fighting with itself here, because everything that we've seen, aside from maybe Julian, all of the augments that we've ever seen turn bad. Because it's just, superior ambition, all that stuff. Superior genetics breeds superior ambition, and it takes all of the taboos away. They just are, bad. It's just a fait accompli.
Did you listen to the Star Trek Con audio drama that they released last year?
Yes. Oh yeah, we reviewed trashed it. We trashed it good.
Oh, I loved it. I actually really loved that audio drama quite a lot. And one of the things that I really loved about it was they did have that whole conversation with Khan, where it's like the whole thing with Khan was not he was predisposed to being evil, they said in that story. It was he had limited imagination because of how he grew up. Like he was grown up taught over and over and over again, like you are superior, you are better than everybody else. And so of course, if you're growing up teaching a kid over and over and over again that you are superior and better, don't trust anyone else because they want to take over, they want to distrust you, that's going to be ingrained in him. Yeah. And so he is going to view himself as superior, as supremacist, and distrust others. And so I liked that audio drama sort of like poked at that, whereas this whole conversation about him being like, oh, you you don't trust these people, these aliens that you've landed with, because you have a limited imagination, because that's the borders that you've been taught to perceive the world. You perceive the world only as us versus them. And it's like what we're taught today in our own capitalistic world today, where like we are taught from birth to be like, oh, distrust others. You should exploit others. Like, see every relationship as some form of transactional. And that's how we end up sort of perceiving our own relationships in real life. But like, we could build a society that incentivizes, as Star Trek again presupposes, that like, no, we build community and connection and value each other. So like, certainly I had issues with that Khan audio drama, but like its ethos and its theming and how it handled Khan, I actually really enjoyed because it pointed out like, oh, it wasn't because he was genetically augmented. It was the supremacist ideology that the people who augmented taught him that led him to that direction.
I just want to say for the record, they trashed it. I thought it was okay.
Did you listen all at once?
I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I thought it was fine.
Yeah. Jesse, did you listen week by week or all at once?
Week by week.
Week by week. Okay.
Yeah,
we did.
Did you guys listen all at once?
Well,
no,
we had the screeners or the sounders.
Yeah.
They give you screeners for that? I didn't even know that. They gave us access to it early, but we did it one at a time.
Yeah.
We did it weekly. And just one more thing. I mean, Star Trek again has always had mixed messages with this, and I think that it's very telling. Where one of Kirk's most famous speeches is, "We're not going to kill today," and that's all it takes. And you can have this utopia, but I feel like that was also Roddenberry saying, don't get complacent. Don't forget where we come from and what we're actually capable of. You have to keep that in the back of your mind. Otherwise, you could backslide into that. So, it's very complicated.
No. I think, but I like that too, because that line like that doesn't presuppose like humans are like predisposed to this, but it is also true. You need to remember your history so you don't repeat it. Like, it's important to look and be like, no, humans are very capable of this. And it's not to say we are more predisposed to do it, but it's also a choice that we have to make, right? Like we choose these things. So yeah.
Could La'an be going through the same thing that Khan did, where she's been told she has this genetics in her and the capability of becoming like the augments, this like Khan, and doing those things. So she has this fear in the back of her mind, and almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's why I liked this episode, because that's my point that I was making earlier with this episode, where it was like it's exploring that anxiety of like she's been told her whole life like she's predisposed to violence because she's an augment, or like even she's been told it, or at least the very least she thinks it because she's sort of looked at her history. Right. And that's what I think seasons 1 through 2 kind of explored that pretty well with her character, culminating that Una episode where it's like she's told like, no, you're not predisposed to be this way. It's the season 3 episode that I think throws that journey off in a weird way, where again the like it's part of your core, and I'm like, is it? I that was not the message that I was getting from the show beforehand, and now it sort of muddies the waters, because this episode I think works to get back on the ghost story of it all. I think why this episode works for me is because like it is an anxiety she has, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that she acts out by the end of the episode in a way that is like, is she possessed? Is it like what's going on here? And like I think it's because she has that anxiety and that fear that it's been instilled in her that she does act this way, in the same way that like Kirk has the fear of David, and so the David stuff comes up for him. You know what I mean? So,
what do you think about the stabbing? All the stabbiness of Kirk getting stabbed by La'an. How is that going to impact their friendship relationship?
Obviously not at all. Nobody seemed very concerned when he beamed onto the transporter pad, bleeding out. They're all just standing there looking at him. No one calls for a medic. No one says emergency beam to sick bay. Nothing. That kind of bumped me a bit.
That was weird. That was weird that they didn't beam him directly to sick bay.
Yeah,
that was weird. This is not a knock on the show. This is my expectation, because I thought this would have been awesome, but. So they beam them in. Kirk's on the ground, La'an standing over him with a knife. I wanted the camera to pull back and you see Spock behind her, about to give her a neck pinch, still holding his bloody ear. So like he's there, like he was gonna stop her. He just didn't get there in time. That's again. So totally fabricated from my mind. Had nothing to do with the show. I just thought it would have been a cool shot.
Do you think that they went back to the Griffin and retrieved the stumps of Spock's points and reattached them, or did they regenerate the points?
Yeah, they just regenerated
from the mutilated
3D printed them.
Blue light.
Yeah.
They had extras in the trailer, so they just glued different set on.
So I think it would have been funny if they had to go back and wait. Let me go get my ears.
Yeah, I mean, it was attempted murder.
They found a space rat and grew the ears on the back of him.
I'm just imagining the costume designer of the show is like, you're going to ruin a perfectly good prosthetic? We spent so much money on these damn ears.
That is a collector's item. The severed ears.
The severed one. Yeah.
The bloody Vulcan ears.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, like, the severity of the crime. It's like attempted murder, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when medical technology is so advanced, it's not as dangerous. And
so you're saying I can go around stabbing everybody, all right? On Starfleet?
Yeah.
Hey, it's a friend stab, you know?
A friendly stab.
I think, like, no, there shouldn't be any charge. Clearly, this was, like, they were under the influence of something.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they could attest to that. Chris, you're like, he should have put it in the report. Probably, yes, he should have put it in the report, I guess. But also, I don't know.
This speaks to a problem I have with the way they portray Pike here, especially when you compare the Jeffrey Hunter version of Pike, which wouldn't be any fun. Like, they want to make this Star Trek, but also a workplace comedy and a feel good ensemble show, like Next Gen was, or like DS9 wasn't exactly feel good, but. I think they bend over backwards trying to make Pike such an affable guy that he's a bad cat. Like, he keeps on making the wrong decisions. In so many cases, he just lets shit slide. Yeah. And it just drives me up a wall.
It's my same stuff with him with M'Benga. Yeah.
But you have to put this kind of stuff in your reports. It's almost like we're not going to kill today, or we could, and Pike just won't tell anybody.
It's my
no.
He lets it slide with Joseph. He lets it slide with La'an.
But Pike saw his destiny. He knows what's going to happen, and he sees the larger picture, so he's not worried about the minutia of the set.
The minutia of people murdering each other.
Yeah, I think
don't sweat the small stuff.
Exactly.
I think my issue with it. So I agree with you, Chris, because like I have had many issues with like Pike's lack of backbone in certain episodes, especially with the M'Benga stuff. I'm like, man, have an opinion, because it's less like. I wouldn't necessarily mind if he was like, all right, I'm choosing to leave this out of the report because you're my friend, or I'm going to put in my report because it needs to go in there. But the way they portray him is often this wishy-washy of like, well, just don't tell me, and I don't want to know, and I guess you didn't. I'm not going to say anything. It's like this weird wishy-washiness, and it kind of portrays him as like a very weak-willed captain and not having an opinion, and. Where I think I agree with you that it doesn't entirely work in this scene with La'an, but I think the reason it doesn't work for me is I don't necessarily know the reason why. Because like if he had said something along the lines of like, and I think it would have been interesting and like complicated Starfleet. I mean, this would have if you did it this way, it would be like, okay, you have to talk about Starfleet's biases, but you would be like kind of like we did in season 1 where Una sort of asks him like, are you going to put this in your report? And he says no, because I don't want you to face kickback from Starfleet for being an Illyrian and being genetically modified. So if he said to La'an here something along those same lines of like, look, I know you were under the influence, but because there's nothing we can prove about that, because it's spooky, wooky, ghosty stories, and Starfleet won't like spooky, wooky, ghosty stories, they will look at you and charge you, and maybe that'll come down to because there's institutional bias against augments, they will have a bias against you, and it will lead to you getting charged. And so I'm going to choose not to do that because I'm going to protect my officer. I believe my officer that she wasn't under the influence. And by doing so, I'm protecting you with this very strong, determined reason. But the fact that the episode kind of like has him go, I'm just not going to put in the report. And like just kind of leaves it out there like that, I think kind of leans into that characterization of having a weak-willed captain, like weak-willed, maybe like indecisive captain. And I think it would have been much stronger if they had been like, here's the reason why, this is why I'm not doing it, and this is why I'm not putting the report, because I'm protecting, like I'm the captain who protects my officers over the captain who follows the letter of the law. That would have been a stronger characterization, but they don't really do that. They kind of leave it out in vagary.
I think we have precedent for the way Pike acts, and from Star Trek 2 through 6, that crew, the crew we love, the crew that we follow, that the movie Star Trek original series crew, they don't tell on each other and they commit crimes together, but all for good, So I feel like this is the same kind of thing that Pike is doing, is having that family vibe to where they look out for each other and not worry about the bad rules and what they
no, because at the end of Star Trek 4, they do decide to go back and face trial. They go back to take their lumps. And it's just that, they also just happen to save the world. So,
they knew they were going to save the world at some point during that journey, because that's what they do.
But Kirk, Kirk gets busted down to captain. They actually do Kirk a favor. They reward him for his insubordination, really.
But that crew's loyalty was to each other more than Starfleet, I think.
I mean, especially Kirk and Spock.
Yeah.
And the fact that, and if you're going to have like a heist, like a caper sort of feel to a film, that was a good way to go for the ensemble. It gives everybody something to do.
All of them, Sulu, Chekhov, Uhura. How many times did Uhura say, "We're going through a tunnel, can't quite hear you"?
In the closet, flyboy.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, I get it. Yeah, there is precedent. You're right. It just kind of irks me, I guess, again, because I really love the Cage and I love the Menagerie, and I really do like Jeffrey Hunter as Pike. So these are two completely different. And the way they wrote Pike in Disco, I think, was much stronger. Then say what you will about Disco. When they introduced Pike and the Enterprise, I thought that they really nailed the characters in those. Say what you will about the show and maybe the episodes, but the characterization of Pike I thought was very good in Disco. And they've given him so many more rounded edges.
Was that before he touched the Klingon crystals, though?
Again, that is not any kind of demarcation point for me.
Okay.
Like to you, like you think like he's changed because he sees his fate. I don't think that would fundamentally change who he is, like make him mellow out and turn a blind eye to every transgression because at the end he's in a wheelchair and it doesn't matter. I just don't. I cannot and will not subscribe to your interpretation of events, sir.
Understood.
I'm with Chris on this one because my big issues with him is just the way they portray Pike is just, again, for me, it's just very wishy-washy. And it's like, I don't necessarily even mind the choices he makes. I just wish he had a more strong opinion about why he makes them. Because it's so often he's just like, I'm just doing it and I'm just like, have an opinion, man. Have an opinion on the choices that you make. And yeah, I agree with you. It's like very rounded edges. And it would be fine with me too, even if that characterization was called out too by the characters in the show. And even the characters in the show never really pointed out. So it's just sort of presented as like, yeah, this is a captain we all love. He's very affable. He's a very nice guy. And it's not given any strong sense of like authoritativeness as captain. You know what I mean?
And don't you think, like, isn't he doing a disservice to the rest of his colleagues in Starfleet, his fellow officers that are investigating that ship? Don't they need to know that if you go there, it could turn you into some murderer, like put you in mortal danger, and also
that's a good
make
point.
you do things that you maybe wouldn't do?
Yeah,
it's not just we saw murdery. Yeah, we didn't just see a ghost. Someone actually stabbed Kirk right through the body. You saw the blade come out his back.
Spock got like his ears cut and everything. Yeah, it's like I just wish he had explained the reason. Because if the reasoning was like, oh, I'll put all this other stuff in my report, but I'll leave this out to protect you specifically, before like maybe biases or because we don't have an expert. Like I just needed more reasoning behind it to give him a strong sense of why he's making this choice. Or it would be like, I'm putting in a report because it's like, for me, like less, I am less always like captains need to follow the letter of the law for Starfleet to be like a strong captain. I just think for a good strong captain needs to have strong opinions. Like they can have strong opinions on things, but the fact that if a character is sort of presented in this sort of like, it's fine. It's okay. You know, show up to work without your uniform on Tuesday. It's okay. I'll be chill about it. You know what I mean? Like this very unopinionated kind of guy, is what kind of frustrates me. So.
Kirk kind of did that in the original series, covering people when like people would be murdery or do stuff and go crazy, and he wouldn't put it in the final report, just list them as missing.
Yeah, but he would usually have a strong opinion. He would have a reason for it. Like there would be a strong reason for doing it. And here again, what frustrates me about this episode is there are many explanations you could give that I just gave that would make it make sense.
And here's the other thing: if there were ever going to be a report, where you can put in, my officer went crazy. I mean, he's basically giving it to the X-Files. He's giving it to Division 12. Like, they'll get it. If anybody was going to get it, they'll get it. He can put it in there.
And the other thing is, so he's writing the only report on this incident because he wasn't even there. Mm-hmm. Like, they would be debriefing Lon, debriefing Spock, debriefing Jim.
His report.
Spock's not going to lie.
Yeah, exactly. It has to come out. It just makes no sense. It just makes
Delete
no
the
sense.
file.
And it's just to make him like, just to make him like the good guy,
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it worked on me. I'm a simpleton.
You have both convinced me, like, emphatically.
I do, like, I love
Gypsy,
like,
your argument was unassailable. Chris, you launched a debate and you sank my battleship.
Yeah, I'm
not trying to sink anybody's anything.
No, I mean, but you're right, because I wasn't like, yeah, he should. In fact, if you recall, I think the way I presented it was like, well, I kind of see. I don't know if he should put it in or not. Like, no, you're absolutely right. Both of you are completely right.
I mean, I like Anson Mount's portrayal is great. I just think like this version of the character from Strange New Worlds is just less strong. Yeah.
So that bumped some of us in this episode. Not all of us, but what else bumped you in the episode? Anything stuck out that you're like,
the not beaming directly to sick bay didn't make any sense to me. Like, I can understand a moment or like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like, but he's clearly bleeding. She's standing over him with an eye. Like, it's whether or not you get the full explanation of how this happened, he's clearly in mortal danger. Just bring him to sick bay because you've already shown that you can do that.
Only thing that bumped me was the chapel stuff at the end, where I'm just like, I get it. We've done the love triangle between T'Pring and Chapel and now La'an, and I'm just kind of tired. And again, I also get like we have to like explain Chapel pining over Spock in the original series, which itself was kind of a sexist tropey storyline in its of its time. But it's like, do we keep it like my big frustration with Chapel as a character is she's constantly defined by relationship to Spock. Like everything comes back to that as like a defining characterization. And like, again, I love in season 1 of this show, Chapel, Jess Bush has given such strong personality to Chapel that was not there in the original series. No shade to Miss Roddenberry, Major Roddenberry, but the character was just not super given a ton of depth in that original series. She's just always pining for Spock, and Jess Bush gave her such personality. But in this show, every storyline has been focused on some relationship with a boy. So like season 1, it was her having complicated feelings for Spock. Season 2, she's in a relationship with Spock and then they break up. And even the episode that is about her war trauma, like we get the whole war trauma episode, the focus of what her trauma was like causing her to break up with Spock. Like Spock doesn't get my trauma, which is a real story. Like that happens. Like breakups happen because people don't understand someone's trauma. It happens, but it's like even in her own episode that's about her past PTSD, is still focused on this relationship with the boy. And then season 3 was all like, all right, we're going to bring in Corby. So now we're going to have a wedding episode, and she's still going to be magic. So she doesn't even have a strong opinion in that episode. She's just going to be like Q. Trelane is just messing with her, and it's really the boys fighting over her rather than her having an opinion. And then here in the show again, in this episode, it's like, oh, her one beat in this episode is like, oh, and she's pining over Spock again. Why not me? And I'm like, give her some more. Give her some more. So what I will allude to is having seen some screeners, there's an episode coming up that I do think they do good job with her on. That I do think it's like, okay, they give her a good stuff later on, but at this point so far, it's less so. So
I did love that little beat where she had that expression on her face, like, I shouldn't do this. I don't want to do this. I'm totally going to do this. Because I think we've all been there where you couldn't just help yourself but ask the question.
Yeah.
So I did love that part.
I mean, the performance is great. Jess Bush is amazing. Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, to me, there's chemistry between them, so why waste it? And I can understand your point, Jesse, but I felt like that scene was earned based on the history of the characters. You know, knowing where they end up didn't even occur to me that they're trying to set that up, like her pining for Spock. But I just, you know.
It's more just it's only been that. Like, that's all we really get with her character. I don't necessarily mind it as a story. It certainly has precedent given the original series, and I don't mind that necessarily. But it's like the fact that all of her stories revolve around Spock relationship drama. You know what I mean? So
I for me, it wasn't a girl boy thing. It was like who's like more emotionally into the relationship, because I identify with Chapel a lot in those things, because usually in the relationships I'm the one that cares more and is more emotional and is more invested and gets more hurt, so I kind of see that kinship with her there.
Yeah, I guess do you think Chapel as a character would ever has passed the Bechdel test in this show? Right?
Nope. No,
because I don't think she's never had a scene where she's not really talking about Spock. You know what I mean? Maybe
where she kills the Gorn.
Yeah, maybe.
In Terrarium or something. That's about it. That 2 seconds.
Yeah.
John, any bumps, bruises?
I don't know if this counts as a bump, but it didn't really. Okay, so at the end, you know, La'an is like, you know, was it real, basically, and Ensign Mount Pike tells a story about, you know, when I was a kid and there was a ghost in the barn. And I ran out of the barn and I scratched my arm, and I still have that scratch on my arm. I was like, okay, your story doesn't. What's the point of your story? The nail is what gave you the scratch.
He kind of gave it away.
It's not
too
like
much,
the ghost reached out and scratched you, and then like, then there was nothing in the barn. I still have that scratch. Yeah, you do, because you hit a nail. Like, what?
And he even said right before I fell asleep, which means he was.
I don't understand. I don't understand the point of that story. If he said that something grabbed me and I came out and I still had a scratch, then I would understand the point. There was no explanation for that. There's a clear explanation for you having a scratch from a nail that stuck out of the door of your barn. It's the nail and it stuck out and it scratched you. Those things are weird. I don't know. There's no explanation. Sometimes the universe is beautiful and terrifying. Okay, but it was a nail though. But in this case, it was a nail.
Yeah.
So that kind of bumped me. Like, and like, I thought that line was something was like, there's like the universe is infinite in its beauty and its terror. I thought that was a great line.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was wasted at the end of that dumb story.
Well, you know, true to life, sometimes we try to be poetic and meaningful and we just come out stupid and dumb.
Sure. I mean, it was a fine story, but your point was not your point.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah, it's very muddled. Yeah.
Favorite parts of the episode. What were our favorite parts?
I can tell you mine, but let's let our guest go first.
Yes.
For me, I always love, so the horror that always gets me, I love horror stuff, like as I said, but I'm rarely scared in things. The thing that always gets me scared is when things get heard or come out of darkness. So when you have like a shot of darkness and then you hear something in it, scares the crap out of me. It's why that movie Barbarian, if you ever seen that movie, scares the hell out of me for exactly that reason. So everything with Kirk's perspective in the first like half of this episode, where he's like, here's the baby, or that one shot where like he hears the baby and there's like that push on that corridor, around the corridor, I was terrified of. And then when the toy comes out of the darkness on the bridge, those moments were like, mwah, those like actually got me, because everything else, like I love watching it, the body horror stuff, the creepy stuff, the possession stuff, all of that is, I love watching it, but it doesn't scare me. Darkness, sounds coming out of the darkness, I love that, because that actually gets me terrified. So I love that stuff.
I love the T'Pring part a lot with Spock, and I liked their relationship, even though it wasn't real. At the time, I didn't know it wasn't real. I thought maybe, but then maybe. But so I was really into it, especially when they were cutting wires together. But who knows? You know, the whole Fight Club thing. It could be just Spock doing all the things at the same time. But I really enjoyed that part. But the whole episode was great. So my favorite part is silly, but the whole episode.
No. I mean that tracks. John, what is your favorite part?
Very similar to Albie, actually. Like my first thought was like, kind of multiple parts of the episode, but I also did like the T'Pring part, because that's the first thing. Okay, well, this can't be what's happening, but it goes on so long. Okay, well, maybe it's happening, and the fact that it takes her so long to turn, and she is so true to the entity that is, or the figment that is being T'Pring, is so true to T'Pring that it actually gives Spock, the good advice that she would actually give him to get him out of it. Is that was great. That was a great move of writing.
I'd never even thought of it that way. It's funny because the facade of T'Pring stayed up much longer than any other facade that everybody else was experiencing. The horror seemed to get to them much more quickly and directly, whereas maybe whatever this entity, whatever it is driving this aboard this ghost ship, had to somehow circumvent Spock's logical barriers. So maybe that's why T'Pring, it took her a lot longer to show her true colors.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the episode, I mean, I loved, again, the horror. It was genuinely scary. The whole thing, everything you guys said, but the introduction of Division 12. I really, or Division 12, right? I like that to me is like, I want to see a series. I want to see a Division 12 series.
I want to see a series of novel tie-ins by Christopher D. Philippus.
Well, yeah, I can just take out my old X-Files stories that I didn't sell.
There you go.
I'm only kidding. I never wrote an X-Files story.
Put in space instead of a forest.
I'm watching X-Files for the first time right now.
Oh wow! How far are you in?
I'm just on season 8, so I just got to dog it. So that's
yes.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dog
he's a T1000 with polymimetic alloy.
Yeah.
Do we have an episode crush? I think my episode crush is T'Pring.
I'm gonna go easy with La'an. I can't get over La'an ever since tomorrow.
I'm gonna go Spock. There was so much complexity of emotion and character woven in here. I'm gonna go Spock.
I will go to T'Pring. It is so good to see her again. I love that actress, Leah Seydoux. She is so perfect as that character, and she's always Gia Seydoux, excuse me. Yes, she is so perfect as that character. She's always a wonderful presence. She was definitely missed in season 3 of this show, so I'm glad to see her back, even as a ghosty.
If that was her last episode, I'll be happy. But hopefully they bring her back at least one more time. Maybe season 5. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful.
Fingers crossed. Yeah,
because technically it didn't count.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. If that's her last appearance, that would be sad.
Right. So just give me one more. That's
we'll see her in the background with Cybok or something.
Oh, there you go. That's true.
Right?
Yeah. When are we getting Captain Angel back? All right, that's who I want back. Anyways,
there you go.
And just a shout out to the actress that played Rose Harper. That is Sharika Wolf. I thought she did a wonderful job as well.
Yeah, I would buy that action figure. Right? Should glow in the dark a little bit. Be creepy when you shut your light off at night.
Face, normal face, monster face, normal face, monster face.
If you shine a light on her, she disappears.
She's made out of transparent aluminum.
Oh, I did not see a 47 in this episode. Did anybody see a 47 anywhere?
I did not.
I don't even look. So.
I don't even look. And,
it's got to really hit me over the head. I always forget it. Trivia. It's time to ask our guest, Jessie, 3 questions. Jessie, we got you for 3 questions. She will be competing against the beautiful John Irons.
The beautiful John Irons.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Totally even. Totally fair.
To be fair, okay, people always say this. I am bad at like minutia, like story. If I know stories and things like that, but if it's like, oh, what was the NCC rating or something, I'm terrible at that stuff. So.
I'm going to stop you right there. The fact that you know the stories already puts you leagues ahead of me.
Beautiful John Irons, I'm getting a psychic feeling that you might do good in episode 3.
Ooh.
Okay.
Just saying. On trivia.
So John, this one is going to go to you first. We'll start with John.
Okay.
Who is the telepathic being that takes over Captain Kirk's body in the original series episode Return to Tomorrow?
You've already don't know. Do you want like a specific name? Do you need a race?
It's got to be. It's a name. It's a specific name. You don't really get the race if I recall.
Galen.
Close, but no.
Okay.
Galen is an alchemist. He's a medieval alchemist. True story. I wrote a book outline where the main villain, the antagonist, was named Galen. Jessie, you can steal.
It's a sci-fi name.
I actually don't know either. I have no idea. I'll go. So if Galen was close, I'll go.
Was it really close, or you just telling me that?
No, not really. I mean, it's two syllables. It's 2 syllables, John.
Two syllables. Oh, two syllables.
This was also the episode with Diana Mulder.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. One of the two. She's in 2, isn't she?
Yeah. Not blind Diana Mulder.
And in truth, there is no beauty.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't know.
I have a guess, but I'm probably
Henry.
wrong.
I'll say Henry. Henry.
No, not Henry. Okay.
Should I guess?
Albie.
Yeah, you Sargon?
It is Sargon. I knew it right off the bat. Woo!
It's been a while
so
since I watched Return to Tomorrow.
That's to point to Albie and Chris. We don't get to give
The only reason I
ourselves
know that is
points
because
here.
I've seen the Star Trek original series bloopers so many times, and they mention it in that.
Gotcha. All right, so this is for Jessie. Jessie, in the Next Generation episode, When the Bow Breaks, what was the name of the race that couldn't have children due to chromosomal damage caused by solar radiation poisoning?
Oh God! See, this is like names of things. I don't remember this either.
Yeah.
This is where I'm weak. Infertilitites.
You got it.
I like it.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah.
John, do you want to take a guess?
I was going to go similarly. I was going to say the Andronagons.
I like
Albie,
that one too.
Do you remember?
Eloy?
The
Morlocks?
Eloy, no, the Morlocks. No, but I have a feeling that a Quantum Leap fan named these, even though this came out before Quantum Leap. It's the Aldeans.
Dean Stockwell, Al. I guess.
Aldeans.
That's cool.
All right, this one goes to John. John, you're going to get this one. I know it.
Don't say that.
In the Voyager episode Hunters, what news does Chakotay receive about the Maquis?
What news does she receive about the Maquis?
Hey, Chakotay. What news does Chakotay receive about the Maquis in the Voyager episode Hunters?
That they have been defeated, obliterated, disbanded, whatever.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to give it to you. It says here, almost all of them have been killed or imprisoned thanks to the Dominion War. Okay. So I think that you get point, circle goes to square, square goes to circle.
Thank you.
All right.
I knew that one. I do that one.
Well, I mean, there was only 2 things that could be happening with the Maquis. Either they won or they lost. And I know they didn't win.
L56 to L57. I'm on my way.
Oh, just so you're going to know this one.
Okay.
In the Next Generation episode, Lower Decks, Captain Picard is aware of Ensign Sito Jaxa from what previous event?
The fact that she was involved in Wesley Crusher's shuttle quote-unquote accident.
Yes, I
Red Squad, the Red Squad.
Yes,
whole thing,
she was. Yeah, she was involved in the Nova Squadron cover-up at Starfleet Academy and the Next Generation episode, The First Duty.
Yes.
Yes.
Not Tom Paris.
No, Nick Locarno.
That's what I say. Not Tom Paris. That's his name. Not Tom Paris.
So close. They're similar.
All right, so it's 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. Albie has a point. Chris has a point.
I'm not even playing.
John has a point, and Jessie has a point. John, it's your last question, John. Well, you can also steal Jessie's if you need to. What future Spider-Man star appeared as Hedrill in the Next Generation episode Dark Page?
Well, damn. See, now you've got me in a pickle because I know every Spider-Man actor, future Spider-Man star. All right, so can I ask a clarifying question?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know the answer, so.
Oh, well then, never mind.
I'm gonna guess in my head. I'll look at the answer.
All right, so I'm gonna say Tobey Maguire.
No, I think I would remember Tobey Maguire on the show.
Interesting.
So.
Yeah,
it's not
like
Tobey.
Future Spider-Man star. I'm like, okay, well, was he Spider-Man or was he just like in the movie? So
oh yeah, because that's what I was saying. It's like okay,
which Spider-Man are we talking about?
yeah, interesting.
So what do you think, Jessie? Do you have an answer?
Oh wait, no.
Because I'm thinking if it's Willem Dafoe, you wouldn't cite him for Spider-Man.
It wouldn't be Willem Dafoe because Dark Page is the one where it's they're like talking about kids. Is it Kirsten Dunst?
It is Kirsten Dunst.
Wow, that's her.
Jessie gets the point.
Yeah,
no way, that's her. Wow, I never knew that.
I think I did know that somewhere in the back of my mind.
Yeah, I did. Wow. I did vaguely remember this, but yeah, I would. To be fair, John, if I had gotten this question first, I would have guessed Tobey Maguire first as well. For the wording of that question.
Because I'm like, what's before he's famous? I could see it.
Yeah.
Wow, Kirsten Dunst, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think I vaguely remember hearing that in like some random trivia. Like, oh, did you know Kirsten? Yeah,
very cool.
All right, it's 2-1 for Jessie. So, Jessie, here's your last question, John. If Jessie doesn't know it, you can steal. Sure. And then we would have a tiebreaker. Who appeared as Naomi Wildman on 17 episodes of Voyager?
Oh God! Oh man, do I know this actress's name? I do not actually.
Is this person famous for other things besides this?
I mistook this actress as the same child actor that played Sammy Jo on Quantum Leap. I don't think it's the same person.
No.
Yeah. And she's the only other active player was in that one episode.
She had a music band for a while.
Yeah, I do not know. I don't know her name. Sarah Michelle Gellar. It's not her, but
that would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been fun. But yeah, I do not know the actress's name. It's on me.
What can you repeat the question?
Who played Naomi? Who appeared as Naomi Wildman on 17 episodes of Voyager? The actress that played Naomi Wildman.
Voyager. So this is that mid-90s?
Yeah, 96. 2002-ish.
But I don't think she's famous though. That's the thing. Yeah.
No, only famous for being Naomi Wildman, I think.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to say Christina Lloyd.
Albie knows.
The answer was Scarlett Palmer's.
That's it.
Oh, see, I would not have gotten that. Yeah, the only other thing I know is there's another act. The only other actress to play Naomi, unless you count the baby, is in that one episode, Shattered, because they had the older version of her.
Yeah, adult version of Naomi Wildman. Yeah.
I don't even know who that character is.
I don't know who plays that version.
No.
Watch Shattered, John.
I haven't watched all of Voyager. I think I watched the first. I know.
Speaking of
Voyager, I love Voyager.
Check out our top 10 list we did.
Congratulations to Jessie.
Yay! Kirsten Dunst saved my day. And again, I have to. If I had gotten that question first, John, I would have answered the same way as you. So
Chris.
Yes.
You know what?
The top 10, right?
I'm gonna re-examine my biases that I automatically went for the male lead as opposed to the female lead.
Yeah, it's sexist, John.
Yes.
How dare?
I have to work on me.
Bitch.
I immediately went with Willem Dafoe because he would have made a great alien, right?
Yeah, I think that we would have remembered Willem Dafoe in Star Trek.
To be fair,
or Tobey Maguire, quite frankly.
The wording of that question does seem to imply that it is like the actor who played Spider-Man. It is.
Well, maybe they're trying to trick
Garfield?
you.
I don't remember Andrew Garfield in there.
That was my first thought.
Tom Holland would have been a glimmer in his mother's eye.
Yeah. I think it's a little too early for that.
Yeah. I think his mother might have been a glimmer in somebody's eye. So, we did a top 10 for Voyager fans out there. In our continuous, reworking of Trek Exploration, where when we're done with Strange New Worlds for this season, we're going to start doing top 10 of each of the franchise installments. And we've done top 10 and bottom 10 or worst 10 of TOS. We've done a top 10 and worst of TNG. We've done a top 10 and worst of DS9. And we just did the top 10 for Voyager with the esteemed Nick Yeager, who's our resident Voyager head, and we still have to do our worst of Voyager. So you can see all of those here on the channel. Just when you're done here, scroll down below and see if you agree with us. Comment.
Do you know what Spider-Man was in Doctor Who?
Was that be Andrew Garfield?
I was going to say Andrew Garfield because he's British, right?
Yeah.
Yep. You knew it.
Isn't he
That's
British?
Bonus points.
Hello, I'm Spider-Man, isn't it? With great power comes great responsibility, eh?
I'm all sticking it all over there.
Tick, tick, boom over there. What are we doing? Trek and Tells? Do we have Trek and Tells?
I got a Trek and Tell. But I don't have to go first, though.
Okay.
It's very weirdly specific to this episode.
Jesse, do you have a Trek and Tell at all? Anything Star Trek at hand you can grab and tell us a story about? A show and tell of a Star Trek item?
I do have several Star Trek things at hand, but I'm trying to think if there's anything that's talkable. Ooh, this is fun. Here we are. Let's do this. The Lego little the TNG mini thing. Yeah, I just finished the. I don't want to bring it over because I don't want to break it. But
yeah, it's huge.
The Enterprise.
We saw that in Spider-Man. You don't want to drop it.
What is that on the end? Who's that? Hold on.
Is that Wesley crying?
Yeah, it's Wesley crying. I think you can kind of see him a little bit.
You got Ensign Rowe?
Yeah, I do, but she's downstairs. Ensign Rowe is downstairs.
As she should be.
Yeah, no, she. This is a very fun. It was a very fun set. I don't really have a story about it. I mean, I have a case here of all my like toys, but they're all set up, so I don't want to knock them all over. It'll be like a domino effect if I pick one up.
How long did it take you to put together the Enterprise?
Oh, that took me like 2-3 weeks because I build them. I've been building them in bits and pieces because I do. I also have like right now I have the Minas Tirith set downstairs that they just released, and then they just announced today, like literally today, they announced an X-Files set. That they just
I saw that. I'm excited for that because they have minifigures as well. Yeah,
I'm
excited.
Yeah.
What's the set like? Is it is there like a place or just
so it's their it's a really cool looking set actually. So it's their office, the X-Files office, and then above it it's like a field, and then there's the alien ship that's abducting people. So right. And then I think the special gift you can get is like Scully's lab too. So it's just
wow. Is the poster in the office?
Yeah, posters in the office,
so cool.
And then you get
the pencils in the ceiling.
I think they're actually no. I think there actually are. I think they are the pencils in the ceiling. So there's that, and the minifig you get like Krychek, the Smoking Man, Skinner, Mulder and Scully, obviously. And then I think you get the cool. Season 2, the little water thing with the sucker mouth and the Fluke.
Oh yeah, like Fluke Man.
Oh
yeah. I have a Fluke Man like diorama action figure statue thing. It's really cool.
I haven't seen X-Files in so long. I remember Smoking Man and Krychek, and that's about it.
Yeah. It's worth going through again, I think.
It's fun. I've been watching it for the first time, and I'm on season 8. And actually, I'm excited because they just announced they're releasing the second X-Files movie, the one that no one really liked as much. I want to believe they're releasing
the one with the dog heads.
I haven't seen it yet, so don't spoil for me.
Yeah,
but they announced
Killer
that they're
Clowns.
They announced they're doing releasing the R-rated version of it next month on Disney Plus. So I'm for the first time getting to watch it because apparently part of the reason they think it's not as like the director's cut they thought was better. So that's what they're releasing. So
that's kind of like a body horror one too. So you might like that.
I'll probably like it. Yeah. So I'm
excited
to
see Mulder's butt. So that's why it's rated.
That's all I need. 10 out of 10, A plus,
right?
What was that complaint? Right? Yeah. What is that complaint about?
Also, I just made that up, so don't at me when you don't see it. All right.
Wow. Well, now you just have my expectations very, very high. You know.
Yeah. Now they got to put it in.
Damn shame.
All right. I have a Trek and Tell before you go, Chris. If you got something specific. Now this is kind of like a guess why it's a Trek and Tell.
I can't see what
Crossroads?
it is.
Yes.
Crossroads with Britney Spears.
Huh.
Yes.
Did it say special
I know why.
Edition?
Okay.
I know why. Because
there's two reasons.
Oops, La'an did it again. Became murderous.
Oops, La'an did it again.
That's pretty good.
So I go to pop this in about a week and a half ago or so, right? And of course, Zoe Saldana's in it, Uhura. From 2009, but I'm watching the behind the scenes, little interviews, documentaries. I'm looking at the guy talking about kissing Britney Spears, and I'm like, why does he look familiar? Anson Mount is the love interest of Britney Spears in this movie.
Wow.
So he's talking all about kissing Britney. So it was a specific time in space, but it's really cool that it was him, and I never connected it until about a week and a half ago. So
that's
wow. Well, that's fun.
So we got two Star Trek people in there.
So the one thing that in this episode. Oh, by the way, is that movie any good?
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I saw Britney 6 times. But she only sang 2 songs, maybe total in the 6 times that I saw her, but she was good.
When Chris asked that, he means would he like it? Not.
No, I didn't mean no. I knew Albie was going to say he loved it.
Actually, it's a good story, and it's based on other stories, so you might like it. Actually,
when you held it up, I thought it was like pretty. I thought it was a copy of like Pretty Maids All in a Row, that Gene Roddenberry like movie that he did. After
I don't have that.
Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson's in that.
Yeah.
I don't have that one.
So, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I had to pause right away. When Kirk is undoing his satchel, a book falls out. So, apparently he's reading a book. So I froze. I did the freeze screen. The book that he is reading is a 2021 edition of Master and Commander by an author named Patrick O'Brien. This is very telling because if you think of Nick Meyer and the way Nick Meyer approached Star Trek as Horatio Hornblower in space, the edition Kirk has is by W.W. Norton, who also does all of the Irvine Welsh books here in the States. So I love W.W. Norton. This book, Master and Commander by Patrick O'Brien, O'Brien is best known for his 21-volume Aubrey Maturin series, an acclaimed sequence of nautical historical novels set in the Royal Navy during the Napoleonic Wars. The books chronicle the friendship of brash British naval captain Jack Aubrey and the Irish Catalan ship surgeon and intelligence agent Stephen Maturin. And that is like Star Trek right there.
Oh,
very
yeah.
much.
If I've always said that if you've ever seen the Master Commander movie, that is a Star Trek movie. It is 100%.
I've never seen it.
Go watch
very
it,
good.
Chris. Legitimately, one of my favorite movies, and it is just a Star Trek movie that is just on a boat. It is
cool.
Straight up just a Star Trek movie. Like
I think I might even read the books because the cover blurb it says a few books work their way onto bestseller lists by genuine lasting excellence. Witness The Lord of the Rings or Patrick O'Brien's Sea Stories, and that was a quote by my favorite author, Ursula K. Le Guin. So I thought to myself,
you might also appreciate this if you're talking Ursula K. Le Guin.
I can't.
It's this one right here. So it says time. It's backwards, unfortunately, but time has 2 aspects. It's the dispossessed.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it? Yeah, okay.
So Dispossessed from Ursula Le Guin. So,
I just reread that. About 6 months ago.
It's one of my favorite books of all time.
Yeah.
So
I'll check it out. You got the ink, so I mean, it's got to be good.
Yeah. So I think so I said to myself, that sounds familiar. I think I have like a nautical book on my shelf. Could I possibly have that one? And I went to look and I realized that it's this one. It's called the Nautical Chart. And I just picked this up because it was like on a bargain table in the book review. That was an old bookstore here on Long Island, which I guess is kind of the same thing. It's like a nautical yarn. And I said to myself, okay, let me go look in the O's for O'Brien. Turned out that I'm going through the shelves. I have no O books on my shelf except for 1984 by George Orwell. And then I said, well, wait a minute. I think that there is a Star Trek book that I have with an O. And of course, I found the first edition of Mark Okrand's The Klingon Dictionary. And wait, this is going somewhere. And the only other O book that I have in this entire room that I was able to dig out quickly that's organized is Where Sea Meets Sky by Jerry Olshan, the Captain Pike Captain's Table book.
Wow.
So
that's a fun one.
It was kind of a weird journey, but
Yeah.
so there we go. So it kind of ties in. Anyway, that's my Trek and Tell.
I will say Master and Commander, go see the movie. Also the BBC audio dramas. They did audio dramas back in the day of Master and Commander, and they're a lot of fun as well. So I really like them. I've never read I should read the actual books themselves, but the movie and the audio dramas are really great. And they are basically just Star Trek. So if you're feeling one Star Trek, but it's just British naval
That movie has a Russell Crowe in it, right?
Yeah,
I feel like
Russell Crowe and
I own it, but I haven't seen it.
Russell Crowe
It's
and why am I blanking on his name? Plays the surgeon. Vision is his name.
DeForest Kelly.
No, well, basically he's basically playing
about
Bones, but yes.
Yeah, but you're talking about Jennifer Connelly's husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vision.
And I forget his name.
Yeah.
He's the lucky guy that gets to bang Jennifer Connelly. That's who that is.
Dak Shepard.
It'll come to me.
Yeah, I forget his name off the top of my head.
That's what
Comment
Jennifer
down
Connelly
below.
said.
Who is having fun
I'm
down below?
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm ashamed. I'm
Very
going
good
to a
check,
trivia competition tomorrow, and I am ashamed.
I'm
that
gonna
I'm not
let me
so.
look it up now.
Congratulations to all who participated.
It is
All right,
Paul Bettany.
we have,
Paul Bettany. Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
There you go. Is that Vision?
Yeah.
Yes.
Vision, Yep.
Yeah.
Paul
Okay.
Bettany plays McCoy in Master and Commander, and it's very
Now I have to watch.
Also
it.
in A Knight's Tale, which is another fantastic movie.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, good film.
One of my
Great
favorite movies
freaking
of all
flick.
time. Yeah.
Okay, final thoughts and ratings out of 5 silly objects from the episode. So we're going to go through and give our final thoughts and a rating out of 5, but they have to be silly objects from the episode. Why don't we let Jessie go first?
I will give this 4 out of 5 cut off Vulcan ear tips. Pretty gruesome. Yeah, it is so nice to have a Strange New World episode that I can come away saying like, I really love this. This was phenomenal. I had a really great time. It has been a hot minute since I've really loved a Strange New Worlds episode, so it's great to have one. So 4 out of 5 Vulcan ear tips.
Nice. The beautiful John Irons.
Before I give my rating, I just want to say, yes, it was gross and you know, kind of gruesome that he cut off the tips of his ears. It was made so much worse that those scissors were like all rusty,
Yeah.
clearly diseased.
Man needs. I hope he had his tetanus shot. Yeah.
So gross.
Yeah.
So much worse. And there's like the whole place was filthy.
Mhm.
But you already took the ear tip, so I can't use that. I
Wait,
will
do
say,
Vulcans, do they get gangrene or gang red?
well,
Because they were already green.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, see, that was a joke.
It's better when you
And-
explain it. I'm gonna give this episode 4.5 pounds of vacuum sucked Sam Kirk guts out of
Jeez.
5.
Jesus.
Clear
Oh,
homage to
man.
Alien. Second one in a row, I think, between the kind of alien ship we saw on 65 million years ago Earth and now this from Alien. What was it, Resurrection?
Yeah, Resurrection.
Yeah.
Yeah, Resurrection.
Yeah, so maybe be on the lookout for some more Alien stuff.
He was just a baby. He was just a little baby, and he just wanted to live. He just wanted to please Sigourney Weaver. All right, you know.
Yeah.
Don't we all just want to please Sigourney
right?
Weaver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Wow, life goal. Exactly.
Yeah.
Love this episode. It's a genre that Star Trek rarely does well. But this one was done amazingly well. I did love, like you said, the shout out to Night Terrors a little bit. I popped for that when the body bags sat straight up, because I was like, I told Rennie, I was like, one of the body bags is going to sit up, and it did. So it was really cool. Overall, it was a great episode, and like you, Chris, I got sucked into it every single time I watched it. I think 4 times maybe total now, and it holds up. It holds up, and I just loved the storytelling of it, and that it is so Star Trek that it could be original series and work perfect. And for that, I'm gonna go with me. I go outside the 5. I'm gonna go with 8.5 blood-filled body bags.
Ooh. Well, yeah, I agree with all of you, Splunge. We're all gonna gush over this episode. I don't recall ever seeing another horror episode of Star Trek, maybe because I haven't watched all of Next Gen or Voyager, so there really wasn't one of DS9, and the only other, I guess standard that we have to compare it to is, again, Cat's Paw, which is
One
just
of the best of all time.
Yes, one of the best of all time. But so I was completely blown away by this episode. I didn't know that Star Trek could be this creepy and affecting and just genuinely scary and chilling. So, because it's unlike any other Star Trek episode I've ever seen, and it really, really works, I'm going to give it, I would say, 4.7. Because there's always room for improvement.
Sure.
Right.
4.7 disembodied David baby arms sticking out of a communications console out of 5.
Wow.
So
That is one thing that bumped me. I really wanted to see like yarn and cardboard in the computer station when he was tearing it apart.
We'll see what they do with Corby's guts later in the series.
That'd be great.
We want to know what you think about this episode of Strange New Worlds. Let us know right here on the YouTube channel down below in the comments. That's youtube.com/@Trexploration. You can also follow us and support the show by going to Patreon. That's patreon.com/Trexploration. There you will see many ways that you can support the show, many tiers. Albie's always tweaking them, so go there, see what's new this week. And for all the Patreons that are already existing, we want to thank you, including the beautiful John Irons. You can tell us what you think about this show on Instagram. Spread the word about Trexploration. That's Instagram.com/TrexplorationPod. You could blue sky us at Trexploration.bluesky.social. Email us what you think. Do they get gang red? Trexplorationpod@gmail.com. You can also send me bloody Vulcan ear stumps. P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York, 11705. We usually ask for a shoebox full of 20s. I want a shoebox full of like Vulcan ear stumps. P.O. Box 542.
Oh, cookies, milk and cookies.
Ooh. Bayport, New York, 11705. P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York, 11705. You can support the show in a one-time manner or monthly at Buy Me a Coffee. That's buymeacoffee.com/Trexploration. And in so doing, you will join the likes of our Buy Me a Coffee supporters like Rocky O, who I think he comes to us monthly, and of course our lifetime member, the Omnipotent Willard. And we also like to encourage you to become part of our crew of intrepid explorers on the Patreon site. You can do so and join the ranks of the beautiful John Irons, our cadets Listen Linda and Rick Tatro, our Lieutenant Commander Scott Seligman, Cosplay Dad, and Christian Daljo, and of course our Captain Charles from Texas, Captain on the Bridge. We'd like to thank all of the people that are on our Patreon site and the Patreon community. Whether you're supporting the show monetarily or not, it means a lot to us that you are following us and enjoying what you're seeing. Thanks to everybody who subscribes here on YouTube, all of the new subscribers. We've gotten so many new people in the last couple of months. It's been crazy, just the way the channel is growing. We hope that you spread the word. You can support us right here on YouTube, too. We have some cadets. Christian Daljo, again, is a cadet here on the YouTube channel. And, of course, the Barsoom, Shant Barsoomian, is also supporting us here on YouTube. So thank you very much, one and all, for all the support that you give us. You can also do it in a one-time manner. Albie's got a whole bunch of QR codes that he pops up. We have so many ways to take your money. Please, avail yourself.
And you won't give us money? There's a way.
We will make it very easy for you. Keep it going, and we do it for you. We couldn't do it without you, and we're having a great time. And it's because of all the support you've given. Like we now have the cred to get like a Jessie Gender on the show. I mean,
you always have the cred. I always enjoy being here.
Trek-fluencers abound in our space. So thank you very much.
Thank all of you,
and thank all of you, and thank you, Jessie, for being on the show again. It's been a hot minute. It's really great. It's really great to see you again.
I always love talking with you guys. You always have like great opinions, great time talking with you. It's a lot of fun. May I quick promote something real quick too?
Yes, of course.
Just to shout out, I am doing a brand new Star Trek podcast with none other than Tawny Newsome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And once again, I feel totally inadequate.
Oh, sorry. No, it's I was very honored. Tawny Newsome was. She was doing a podcast called Is This Racist with her friend Andrew T for many, many years. It was an award-winning podcast, but the world as it is right now, most of the answer to that question is yes, it is racist.
Yes.
It's the world's very racist right now. So she and Andrew kind of wanted to end the show because it was just getting kind of dark and depressing. So they decided to turn it into a Star Trek podcast. So it's called Starter Trek because her friend Andrew has never seen Star Trek. So we're watching random episodes of Star Trek completely out of order, so he has no context for anything that's happening. It's a very fun comedy podcast, and I am the producer and also the actually person who gets to correct them when they get something wrong about Star Trek. And I get to share some of my thoughts and everything. So it's a really fun time. It's called Starter Trek. It is on YouTube. It is wherever you find your podcasts.
Links below.
Yeah, so please check it out. It's really fun. So if you're missing your Mariner energy, go check us out. It's a lot of fun time.
That's amazing. I love everything Tawny.
Yeah, cool. Tawny is the sweetest. She's legitimately. Yeah. I'm very honored she asked me to do it, and
she's one of us. So,
yes,
which is
huge nerd.
Yes, so that's great. So we got a lot of other videos on the channel. Russell Trek just dropped an episode of a review of SummerSlam 1989 and the movie's No Holds Barred, and that's with Steve Shives and the After Trek host Matt Myra. So check that out. And if you want to see Chris and I get bikini waxed before we go on our vacation, check out that video below. I'm just going to say one of us gets the full Brazilian. I'm not going to say who, but check out below.
Albie, feel free to edit out the face that I made just now. I apologize. It was completely involuntary.
Albie, put it front and forward. Put it full in frame.
I'm so sorry. I love you both.
Edit in slow motion, maybe right here. Okay. Well, all right. What do we got coming up next, Chris?
Next, we have Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 4, Episode 3. Titles are embargoed until the morning of the show or something like that.
No. The titles have been released already, even as of
have they?
Our recording right now. Yeah, they have.
Oh, come on. But this is a running gag, Jesse.
No.
Oh, is it? Is it a running gag? Is it a running gag?
It's not.
I ruined it.
It is a running gag, but it's not good.
Okay.
So feel free to
is the next episode the puppet episode? Can somebody please tell me when is that coming?
I don't know. Let me see if I can find the episode title.
I've ruined.
Now I got to find episode titles. You son of a bitch. The next episode is called Episode 3. Human Best Friend. I wonder what that's about.
Maybe
it's about a dog puppet.
You know who we should ask what that episode's about? Allison Pregler, because I know she's watched it.
Yeah.
Why don't we have her join us?
I think that sounds like a very good idea.
All right.
So it's a done deal.
So it's a done deal. We'll just decide unanimously to have her on. So it'll be me, Chris, beautiful John Irons, and Allison Pregler. Somebody let her know.
All right, I'll let her know. I'll contact her tonight. We'll see what Allison has to say.
Tell her I say hi.
Okay,
We'll do.
All
right, so
I think that's it. And Jesse, you're sticking around for the after show, right?
I am indeed. Let's do it.
Wow, we are so fortunate to have such a kind person like you join us, and I appreciate that. And I got some things to talk about on this after show. But for now, for Trek Exploration, I'm Albie.
I'm Chris.
I'm John, and I wasn't on with you before, Jesse, so this is awesome.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you. It's amazing. And I'm Jesse. Yay.
Jesse, John, Jesse.
Thank you.
Yes. Hello. We did trivia together. We are bonded forever now.
And we'll see you next time.
Later.
Exploration is a podcast, yeah. Chris and Albie and sometimes John. Talking Trek all night and day. Making no sense along the way. Published author of the Seeker book. Father of Serenity, former cook. The beautiful John Irons is our friend. When we get together, it never ends. Original series and next gen. Captain Archer is our friend. Albie loves Voyager in DS9. Archer is our friend. Chris watches Enterprise all the time. Archer is our friend. New episodes, they come and go. All Star Trek is our favorite show. We get guests we can't afford. If you are new, then welcome aboard. It's Albie's only job, so donate well. Like and subscribe and ring that bell. Original series and next gen. Captain Archer is our friend. Albie loves Voyager in DS9. Archer is our friend. Chris watches Enterprise all the time. Archer is our friend. New episodes, they come and go. All Star Trek is our favorite show. We get guests we can't afford. If you are new, then welcome aboard. It's Albie's only job, so donate well. Like and subscribe and ring that bell. Trek Exploration is a podcast, yeah. Chris and Albie and sometimes John. Talking Trek all night and day. Making no sense along the way. Published author of the Seeker book. Father of Serenity, former cook. The beautiful John Irons is our friend. When we get together, it never ends. Original series and next gen.
Hello, I'm Spider-Man, isn't it?